It's popping, chat. Been a while. It's been a while. I think I got everything back in motion. I think I got everything back in motion. I got me a place to stream, which was the biggest pop. Had to get my equipment upgraded, which was also a big pop. So now we about to get back to it, you know. Today we going to clean this funnel, man. I got a lot of funnel to clean, so I can get this shit in the stores. So bear with me. I'll have my camera on in a second, and yeah, we're basically just gonna be cleaning the funnel today. I might react to some shit. I don't know yet. Let me see. I got these doves interrupting me, bothering me. So I'll be working with them. Trying to get all my utensils and shit in order, y'all. Getting my scissors and shit together. Don't mind me, y'all. That's the vibe I'm on and shit. Just trying to get to it. Gotta have my non-copyright music so they don't keep trying to take my shit down or pause it. Give me a second, I'll be ready with y'all in a second. Ooh. You love me. Gotta get that cash. Not great. I ain't ever smoke great. Since I hated you, why you still talking about me like we together? Ooh, y'all hear me talking trash? It's gonna be to the dogs. Cause all they do is follow me everywhere I go. They trying to do everything I do. I don't know what's up with these little motherfuckers. Well, I do know what's up with them, but they on my line. Welcome to the chat, man. It's been a minute, man. I'm gonna catch up though. Get my followers back up. Get my views and shit up. It's alright. But everything better this time around. I'm guaranteeing you that. Everything better. I ain't take no break for nothing. You gonna see production better. Got cameras. Streaming from every site I got. Multi-streaming. So we doing better this go around. You love me. You love me. You love me. You love me. What's poppin', chat? Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm about to cut my camera on in a second, man. I'm cleaning the funnel today, man. That's all we doing. We cleaning the funnel. We probably gonna do reaction at the end. But right now, we cleaning the funnel. What a minute. That's all we's doing. I want to cut my camera. I'm just I don't really know the guidelines of all my apps. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to mope on there. So I'm trying to figure that part out right quick. Then I'm gonna cut my camera on so we can do this fun. Matter of fact, fuck this smoke. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be live. I'll come out last on in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. 2 motherfucking minutes. And I'm doing everything. I'm getting back to everything. We got funnel. We got hookah pans. We got top shelf. I mean, we got this YouTube clean hand sanitizer brand I'm about to drop. I've been doing all that motherfucker fishing and shit. I had to get something to clean my hands. So I said, why not start a brand? So I bought a big pallet of hand sanitizer to start my brand with. So I got a hand sanitizer brand dropping. I'm waiting for my website to be finished. There you go. I'm gonna have the website drop too. So you can order it, but we doing a small joints. That's alright. That's alright. Been a while. I had to get my motherfucker. I had to get that 17 Pro Max, and when I did, I locked myself out of my Twitch, and I locked myself out of all the apps. Let me not say app name, but I locked myself out of all my apps. So I had to get a SIM card because you know the new Jones got a eSIM. So I had to get a new SIM card. But alright, I'm ready now for y'all. We gonna go ahead and get this shit jumping. What's poppin', chef? Been a little while, yippee. This shit come out of load. Bear with me. Bear with me, bear with me. Cut it over. We got pounds. We got cleaning to do. We got cutting and cleaning, man. This is how you get this pure, that pure leaf, that pure funnel. Let me show you. Cause I got some from the last batch. I got better and better as I went, my bad. I got better and better as I go. So I'm just making sure this shit looks good. Like no sticks, no scorn. And it's straight dark leaf. I don't play with the light shit. You don't play like that. If you ever had TopShelfBlend before, you're gonna love it. You love it already, but if you haven't had it, you're gonna love it. Type shit. There's no stems in here. Straight. I can bag this up right here, right now, and put it in the stores. But a new order just came in, so now I gotta clean more and get ready for store. I don't keep seeing me look down because as you can see, I got my puppies running around. Elsa had a litter. She had a beautiful litter too. We gonna do puppies later, not right now. Right now, this thing is for fun. Should come like this. Open this motherfucker up, make sure it's good, ain't no mold on there. So it takes my time. Good dark leaf every single time. Every time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go straight down the leaf. I'm gonna do it in a second, but right now I was just showing y'all the leaf. Go straight down this motherfucker. Cut the main veins out. So at the end, when it's time for me to clean it, it's not so many stems and shit. So that's what we're gonna do. I was giving them some shit to play with. When I didn't put the bag down, they started playing with it, so I let them do it. But now, stick my way. Get out the kitchen. You know better. Get out the kitchen. Thank you. Alright, then. We're gonna hit it straight down the lane, like I said. Well, I don't even know what it says till I get to the little small veins when I gotta really hit that motherfucker and cut everything off. This the hard part right here. The next part, all I gotta do is dry. Once I get everything cut and get all these veins off, let it dry. Crush it all up, let it dry, and then we gonna go ahead and bag that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so boom. You know funnel, you know funnel. You got all these little thin lanes. Keep calling them lanes. You got all these little thin veins. Try to get them first so that later on when I crush everything up, it's not a rack of small ass veins in the way or in my bag. From the thought of losing you. I had to find me some good non-copyrighted music so I can have in my background and shit. So once I get all the little small lanes, all the small veins off of it, I basically just throw them in the bag and get it ready to get dried out when I get to it. But right now, we just gonna make a bag full of good leaf with no veins in it. No veins. This how, remember back in the day when we used to buy that black bag of funnel? You lazy and just peel a piece off, and burn it and shit. Yeah, I done took that, started a business with it and said, fuck it, we gonna do this shit in bulk and give y'all what we like, you know what I'm saying? Cause if you know, you know. And that's why the people that buy it, they know. They know how I look in the bag. They already know. And it's actually fun to me having my own brand and really having to do all the work for it. It's fun. I'm not ready to really hire people to do this process. Cause I could, but it's more fun doing it than knowing that damn I just really did this shit from scratch. And it's in the store because of me. Like, that's the lit part about it. Now I do got a team, but we got a street team that we do for promotion and shit like that and for marketing. But right now, this is my job. Make sure this shit clean, no veins, and going and ready to go in them bags for when it's time to put it in the bags and go market. We got a team that hit the stores as well. I don't do all the work. I just do the hard part because this was my dream. It wasn't nobody else. This was one of the things that I wanted to do. And whoever just tapped in with me, they do. But for the most part, this is what I gotta do. Get these veins out. Sometimes it's a tedious job. It take a little while, but don't everything take time? Nothing come easy. That's at least with my life though. Nothing come easy. I had to work for everything I wanted. You gotta take your time too, man. Make sure ain't no mold, cause get a motherfucker sick off your bag. That's it for your brand. As soon as a motherfucker go in there and say, "Oh yeah, man, I had that funnel before, man. I was sick." That's the worst. The worst. And a lot of people listen to other people. Trust me. It's not too many leaders. There's a lot of followers, and that's sad to say, but it's okay. So I'm gonna do it the right way, so that y'all love it every time. Straight up. But oh, our website is it dropped. We got a website for TopShelfBlend.com. Go check us out, even if you're not ordering. We got just go check us out for when you want to order. We got vape pens. We got funnel in bulk and in bags. Prices for right now, we only got nickels and dime bags. So use your head. Not literally a nickel and not literally a dime, but use your head. Vape pens vary. The prices vary on the vapes. We got telephone vapes on there. It's entertainment vapes on there. You can get on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, shit like that. Whatever varies you, and I got different flavors in all the pens. So find your flavor on there and place your order. They get delivered to you, or you can do a meetup. Just let that be known what you trying to do and how you want to get it when you go for it. When you place your order. What's poppin', chat? Appreciate y'all for tapping in with me, even if it's for a second. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. We cleaning the funnel right now, getting it ready for the drying process. That's all we doing right now. Taking all these major veins out, so when it's time to shuffle through and put it in a bag and clean it, there's not so many veins and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing right now. What y'all doing? Where y'all at? What y'all got going on? Y'all don't gotta be anti. Y'all can talk. It's a cool little vibe going on. I ain't got too much or nothing to do for real, so why not get to the business part of things? So all I'm doing, taking my time getting this top shelf blend cleaned up and ready to get distributed to these stores. I got a couple places that I haven't been in yet, and I got a couple places that I need to get back in. So, and if you see this funnel and it's not in your stores, let me know so I can get there. It don't matter where you at. I come right there and put it in your store. Trust me. In any store. I'm probably gonna be the only brand that really show you how this greatness became great. Everybody don't be doing this, but with their brands, you just sit in the store or see them slightly promoting it, and you go try it. Always gonna come dot. Nothing less than that. I'm gonna get into my guava brand too, cause I had a lot of people ask me about why I ain't tap into the guava lane. Cause I gotta go try the leaves. I don't like to just order it without seeing it or trying it myself. So I gotta go try it first. And then once I do that, I'ma probably start a guava line of it, a TopShelfBlend. That's gonna be next. It's not really too hard. I just gotta take the time out and really go sit in there and try it, because so many leaves and so much stuff to pick from. But I'm gonna end up doing the guava line of it. That's gonna be next. I keep on running back to you. I trusted you when I can get through. Yeah, I'm just cleaning this funnel. TopShelfBlend, www.topshelfblend.com. You know what I'm saying? The app should be deployed shortly. I had so much to do when I got up. I just got straight to this. Get this out the way. But I do need to get on that computer and check my email and stuff. Need an assistant. That's my next thing I'm gonna do. Get an assistant. I'm gonna get an assistant to help me at least pay attention to them emails at the least. Make sure I'm up on time. Make sure that when these orders come in, I can get to them. I know ain't nobody in my kitchen. Who in my kitchen? Get out of there. Come on. Watch her come out the kitchen, y'all. Oh no, watch him come out the kitchen. That's hungry. Hungry, get out the kitchen. Watch him. Oh, he's not even in the kitchen, y'all. I'm sorry. He right here in this damn water thing. I heard some noise coming from that way. My bad, nigga. He right here asleep in his damn water bowl. Put man, this shit, man. It's a little tedious. It get a little tiring, but knowing everything that you want, you gotta work on that shit. So I'm working on my craft. I'm like, fuck it, that's what I want to do. I want to have a funnel brand, so I'm gonna run this motherfucker. I'm just cleaning up this motherfucker leaf, taking these veins out. So when I start drying, I don't got a whole rack of stems and sticks in my way. Or when I'm ready to bag it, rather say. See out of my whole mouth. Put a whole stem on. I don't wait till the end. Take my time, make sure ain't no mold on none of the leaves. And put a motherfucker right off, you know? clean them motherfuckers. See how I clean them hoodie? Wash out. Where you going, girl? What you doing, girl? They be on everything moving, man. These damn dogs. This is my second litter. My first litter, I wasn't around to take care of them, so one of my good men took care of the whole litter for me while I was away. But this litter, I had the full experience, and Lord have mercy. Whew. They ass weighing me the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? They weighing me the fuck out, man. Yes, y'all are. What you want? See what I'm doing? What you want? We're gonna do a puppy rub. We're gonna show them later, but I'm just showing y'all one of them. Her fat ass is all in my face, so I just want. What's up? Is you cool? Is you cool? What you want? I'm cleaning. I'm doing something right now. Alright, hold up. I'm gonna wash my hair. What? Why you in my kitchen? Why you in here? Thank you. Thank you. I ain't tasting you, girl. They just flop and plop whatever the fuck they want to, y'all. That shit is crazy. As soon as I get up and move, everybody eyes open. They chasing me around the whole house. It don't matter. They gonna pick somebody to follow and follow them. My girl Elsa in a cage because they be trying to attack her all day for milk, and now we past the milk stage. Y'all not about to be trying to milk my girl like a cow. So I got them separated. While they out, she in the cage. We were alone, and right now, one of her daughters over there bothering her. I'm a breeder that don't even name the dogs. I haven't even named nobody but one of them. Only one I named was the first one that came out because he was fucking geeking to eat immediately. Like, he was different. So I named his little ass Hungry. But name may change because I like Pape and I like a few other names for him. I don't want to put my names out there yet until I make it final. But yeah, I'm gonna change his name. But Hungry for now was fake cool. My daughter liked that name and shit too, so I just ran with it. But if she had 5 dogs, she had 2 white ones and these 3 brown ones. The white ones ain't make it. Broke my hop. But it's okay. Cause we gonna go back. Not go back with the same male dog, but we gonna go back. Thank God they in here sleep now. They not bothering me like they would, cause they be on my line, man. They be on my line. I gotta get me a soft light, man. That's what I need. I think that's probably one of the last things I need is a soft light for my stream. For the sit on the side, I need a soft light. I don't know if I like this lighting yet. I'm trying to see something. I need a soft light. y'all doing? Y'all at work? Y'all at home? I'm at home at work. Just try to make sure that all these motherfuckers be straight off the vine. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I hate all these fucking veins and shit everywhere when I'm trying to put everything in the bag or when I'm trying to break this shit up. I hate all these little veins and shit. It be blowing me. So I said, fuck that. I'm gonna take my time and pull these veins off. I was gonna cut them, but that take too much time. I'm gonna use my motherfucking hand. But you can see everything I got is branded. 26, brand yourself. I don't give a fuck what you do. Brand yourself. Whatever you got, brand it. Put a price on it, put it out there. You never know what people want. You never know. I'm gonna sell panties and bras at the end of this year. Watch this. I'm gonna have a panties and bra line. I'm telling you. I just know what the girl is like. Victoria's Secret has only lasted that long as it lasted because how consistent they are. Man, and because they got a nice product as well. Product matters. They're consistent. They known for having a nice product. So I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna have a nice product. I'm gonna be consistent. I'm gonna drop panties and bra line before this year is out. It's one of my goals, one of my goals. Might not have a storefront, but I'm gonna have a line. Well, did y'all hear that Kai said he wasn't streaming no more, he was going to other things? He about to be a clothing designer. I found that funny because we started off there. We was doing clothes first and then music and then started saying, hey, why not stream? We already paying cameramen to follow us around and stuff of those natures. We already on the camera. So I just was like, man, look, why not? Streaming. So I put the whole setup. Got to it. I'm working on my IRL. I feel like I got I mastered my just chatting my computer setting. So now I want to do I'm working on my IRL setup. I want that backpack bad as shit. You get it too. But yeah. Before the year out, I'm gonna get it. Ah, damn, y'all tripping. Rain's going there. Not the leaf. Not the leaf. moving kind of fast because I'm used to it now. But at first, boy, I used to be here all day doing this. I used to be at work doing this shit. Gotta get out of here. Out of here. Good doc leaf, no matter what. Premium doc leaf, no matter what. No matter what. Damn, no, I can do that shit again. Let's go. That's how you do it. And the way back down. They probably done ran around and now they in here chilling now. Matter of fact, I want to watch the cat shit while I'm doing this. Oh, give me a second. See what the fuck he talking
I feel
about.
like sometimes people need to self-reflect and take a step back from the broad perspective of what their life has been. I believe that there is more to this world that is much greater than myself. The energy and passion to want to do more and create is within me. That is why I quit. I quit thinking in my head of the goals I want to achieve and not pursuing them because I'm primarily known for one thing and super scared to step out that box and try new things. I quit overthinking.
Be open minded, chat.
I quit staying in my head about if the goals I pursue are going to work or not. I want to push limits to see how much I truly can create in life.
In the 19th century, Louis Vuitton was born and raised in Anjou, France, to a farmer and hat maker. Starting from a young age, Louis had no choice but to work on the family farm. From dusk to dawn, he planted and harvested crops, raised the animals, and stockpiled firewood. This is the story of how a homeless teenager pioneered modern luggage and laid the foundation for a billion-dollar empire.
Oh shit! Yeah. Yeah. This is cool. Oh. Currently, we are in Italy, where I've been for the past like 2 weeks. I'll probably say, because I feel like if I present my own brand with my own stuff, people will find ways to be like, yo, you missed here, you missed there. Because often when you meet the person that got their brand, you can pick out. You'll be like, this is on the come up. You'll be like, it's cool, but you missed here and here. But once it's Louis Balenci, you feel like that's the official. You can't tell anything about it. Oh shit! Let me try.
Bro, it's tough, man.
It's hard.
Yeah, because this is new, and the grip between these, yeah, it's better. We can choose this because this is new. Yeah, guarda, che gran patata. Don't try this at all. Like,
So as I want to be able to learn the fabric, where I can get it from, everything. So I plan to like learn and not just jump into design.
we wanna try this?
Yeah.
This is more safe. So, stand this,
Yeah.
the points, and go like kindly.
Yeah. Oh shit! That's just scary as fuck. When I went to Japan, my love for clothes kind of enhanced after that. Got inspired by what they were wearing, got inspired by the outfits I have put on myself, and just been falling in love with clothes, bags, accessories. A lot of the times I am boxed into this box of being a streamer, so it's one of the first times where I'm going to display something outside of my primary category. The reason why I kind of want to learn it is because I want to have like an attachment to my clothes.
If you love new tech, but you don't want AI doing everything for you, there's the fun in that, right? Check this plugin out. Meet Co-Producer, a plugin that finds samples that fit your music fast. Throw Co-Producer on your mass.
I know at times, usually I'm able to handle a lot of stuff by myself and find ways to it. But I just needed some advice on just pursuing life and goals that I have to like try to find the confidence and the real commitment to pursue them. Because usually at the times I've achieved so much and I've been able to knock down goals I always wanted to do, and my mindset in my head, it's just like a lot of self-doubt. I'm not even depressed. I'm not sad. It's just for some reason I'm having like a lot of self-doubt because it's out of fear of stepping back from what I'm primarily known for, which is content creation, and pursuing another goal. One thing I want to ask you is like, how do you at times get over self-doubt or voices in your head saying that it's over, or voices in your head saying you might not be able to do it?
Well, first things first, you cannot let your mental take over. Some people are strong, some people are weak. When the voices in your head start coming, it's pushing you either to give up or keep going.
Oh my gosh, man.
That's the TV girl. Elsa, chill out.
A lot of people don't get to see the making of the shoe from scratch, from the idea to physical form. So it's cool seeing the process.
the leather has to get the cord shape.
Yeah.
After they're gonna cut this, okay, and usually remember now that after this you have to leave the upper
For a day.
yeah,
A day.
exactly, a day.
Day.
So we're gonna like see this, and we're gonna like have this tomorrow morning.
Yes.
At least a night is the minimum that.
Oh shit. These are open.
Yeah, but just for this product.
Okay.
Remember, because we didn't have like open source hardware for that.
Mm-hmm. And you'll basically bring this to a bigger factory and be like, I want this. Like that's what happens. So they make it, and after you bring this to a factory, and be like, we need 500 of this, and they'll make that shit clean.
Remember the other factory that we went?
Yeah.
You can say to them, okay, we have this. You cannot go wrong with this.
Yeah.
You can do right now 500. Because here the sampling is faster.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. What the fuck? That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's gonna leave this the whole night, at least tutta la notte, almeno, so we can pick up this tomorrow morning and bring this to Milan with us.
Seeing the shoe come to life and in my hand is insane. From scratch. Everything I want to do is already done, but it's like for some reason when it comes to revealing it and pursuing it,
You go back?
yeah, because it's on the internet or people are gonna view it a certain way and stuff like that. So it's more like what clothes did for me, and like I've been to Italy
Yo, I
for
gotta
the
follow
past
me, nigga. I
3
ain't
months.
going
Like this is my first time I have a passion,
Yes.
a true passion for something besides content creation.
This is the knife to cut the fabric.
Yeah.
Okay. Push here, but
Slowly.
slowly. Okay.
Okay.
Go.
Since I've been here, 100% the denim process probably is the longest process that there is. Like literally, I did not understand how long it takes to even make denim from scratch.
Go. Again. Okay.
Oh wow, that's cool.
One try again.
That's cool.
Start this part. Yes. But the fabric never in this side because this the knife always in the other side.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this bad right here?
No.
Is that a mistake? Like sometimes, yeah, like it has to be a consistent pattern. Okay.
You are tailor. You are not tailor.
Oh. Oh yeah, you can see it. Yeah, good pattern here. That's cool. The process of just sitting there and sewing over and over again and cutting the threads and trying to make sure it's lined up and making the pockets and making the, like a lot of stuff is like it's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, we still have to do the.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, good dodge. In my opinion, before I even want to get to the design, I want to make sure that the form of the denim is good, so that then we'll get into the design. I don't want to design denim right now, because if I don't have the right form, then it's not going to come out how I want it to come out. So
imagine being able to reach 15 million views on the first video of a new YouTube channel. You start at 0 subscribers. Imagine that video attracts 5 million views in its first month and a half and 12 million views in the first year of being released. And it just keeps going. Labels start reaching out with favorable offers, show promoters want to book you, feature collaborations you dreamed about fall into the palm of your hand. Your organic growth generates 250,000 subscribers in a matter of months. If you've ever seen someone go totally viral overnight, it may seem like plain luck, But for many artists, like the ones we work with, these outcomes are predictable and quantifiable before they happen. And they're exactly what we've helped people like you accomplish. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, we created a free training on how we brought a new artist who had no music release when he met us to 25 million views and $30,000 per month without relying on advertising, but our organic growth methods. I'm guessing you're on YouTube looking for resources to grow your artist brand. So there's a link around this video through which, if you click the button right here, it'll take you to the free training where we have nothing for sale. In fact, if after watching the free training, you want to let us help you on your journey, we'll invite you at the end to apply to book a complimentary call and speak with us about where you're at with your artist brand. And we can help you identify your best steps moving forward. We make the difference between an artist who says their next release will hit 1 million views based on inflated ego predictions and the artists who know their next release will smash 1 million views because of a calculated approach they can be sure of. And I know this sounds like a lot to accomplish independently, but it is entirely possible with our new, easy and predictable, data-driven.
Hold on, Chad. Give me a second.
So we're on because we have a studio out here, and like, bro, look at this shit. Like, it's like a trap house. Like, we just all everybody's designing.
You talking about it's like a trap house? I'm crying.
And shit like that. But like what I'm trying to do, bro, is either I'm gonna go back to Atlanta, and I'm gonna try to get a studio, try to make like one of my houses or a design studio where I just fully indulge in it and get new designers. I didn't even get designers in America because I got designers in Italy and we all cooked up this so far. But I also want to like balance it and try to get designers in America. That's where I'm really at. And then what I'm gonna do is try to get like a space where like I could turn it into basically what is happening now because it's the best way to work right here.
Bro, I'm so proud of you, bro.
Yeah,
You're grinding every day, bro.
yeah, I have to, bro. It's just the best. This is the best time right now. Favorite part gotta be making the shit, and even brainstorming something that's never even been thought of. That shit takes time, and being in the factory, seeing everything is inspired, but making something that you had in your brain and being able to wear it, and that's the cool shit about it. Right now, I'm just getting into making my own clothing brand. Okay. And I really want to learn like the sewing process just to see how.
I'm gonna take this thread and pull it under the sky and under the sky.
Under here.
And then under the sky. Really tug it. Don't be afraid of it.
One thing I learned most was the patience. It's patience because you can't just go out there and just make bullshit. How you doing? Yeah. How you doing? You good? What's your name?
You know who that man is in Italy. That's alright.
Me too. I'll be here real often because I'm learning how to make clothes. Alright? So, whatever, if you want to join me, feel free to, okay? Alright. Bye, Zola. When I look at a brand, I also perceive it and look at it as if it's a perfect brand because they make it look so easy. I want mine to be more like they see
Clean off the table,
they see like when I fail, they see when I achieve, they see when I'm doubting myself, and they see when I overcome it.
Welcome to the 5th Annual Streamer Awards. Just Chatting Streamer goes to
And the winner is Mafia Zone 3, Kai Streamer University.
You guys can achieve anything that you guys want. Don't limit yourself to one category. For the past year, I've had dreams besides streaming to achieve and to pursue. I have dreams one day to become a fashion designer and start my own clothing brand. And one thing I want to say is no matter what, keep God in everything that you do. Do not ever forget about God at all. people in here aspire to be shit, y'all niggas put that foot on that fucking pedal, y'all niggas. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So put on that pedal and go. Yeah.
So I just wanted to see, like, pick your brain or just kind of like, what do you feel like is the most important things when it comes to a clothing brand?
First of all, you should be focused and you should know who your client is and who you want your clients to be more than anything. Like, I think sometimes a lot of what happens and a lot of people aren't successful at things, so they try to do too many things at the same at one time.
Okay.
Like I would suggest you start small and do the thing that you do best. Yeah. I think this is brilliant. I think
this is the better part.
I think you publishing it as a book and it comes with things. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Be brilliant.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about being successful, you can't have no fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always like being nervous and all that shit is human, but no fear. Like you just gotta. I'm a big believer in like the law of attraction, and you attract things that you want and all that, and putting good shit in the universe and you get it back, and just being confident. So now it's all about it's no fear. You just can't have no fear. If you believe that this is gonna be successful, it's gonna be successful. But you can't have no fear. You can't go into like, oh, I'm doubting this or this might not work. If you feel strongly and passionate about it in your heart, then that's what you do. But my advice is like, if you know you gonna have the coldest code, do the code. That's why so many brands that started was just t-shirts, right?
That's
it
true.
don't take a lot of money to do a t-shirt. People, if they got a little bit of money, a lot of money, they'll support you that way, right? Anybody will buy a t-shirt from you. You know what I mean? But you do that, and then you build, and then you come with a jean or a jacket or something. And then people are like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand a little bit more what this brand is, or what's the point of view of this brand. And then you start to go from that. Like if you look at Michael Murray, when he started, like it was basically jeans. He had them jeans. Everybody was wearing them jeans. And then the rappers stopped fucking with him. He said, okay, well, I'm gonna stop fucking with y'all. I'm gonna start making clothes for real people. You know what I mean?
First.
Exactly.
Just like
You say real people.
Like all these
Exactly.
people, they have that one thing.
Exactly. And then they grow.
It's the opportunity to just express a lot of things that's been going on in my life. But like this is kind behind just the streams. And I want to do it the right way. Like this is not me starting my name on any brand. And
I can see.
And and trying to money grab and shit. I want to build this community.
You have to know who your audience is. Yeah. You have to know who those people who are gonna support you in the beginning, because those people also gonna grow with you.
Mm-hmm.
The people who've been watching you for how long you been streaming? 5 years?
Like 4 or 5 years.
Right. So if they started watching you when they was 9, they 14 now. You know what I mean? And for the next 5 years, then they're gonna be 19. So they grow with you, and then their economics are gonna grow with you too. Mm-hmm. Right. So and that's fine. Y'all grow together. Mm-hmm. You know, take your time. Like I always say that too, and I always say like, well, I think you did this part already. Like I always tell people just to be still. You know what I mean? Like just when you just be still, and the universe will speak to you, and it'll come to you, and really guide you in a way which I feel like you're doing now. When you stopped streaming, you went to Italy, you did all that. That was you being still, right? Turning off the noise, going away from what's easy for you, and just going and putting yourself in a place that's vulnerable, and you just learning from other people. You know what I mean? Like that was your be still moment. You know. And I think that's really important, just to be, because again, people like me when I retire, people like, you make millions of dollars a year for business stars, like how you just know about playing, you at the top, you the best and all that. But I was like, I needed a moment to just be still, right? Because it had consumed my life so much that I just didn't even know what I was no more outside of just being a stylist. I didn't know what the fuck. People like, well, what brings you joy? I had no idea. I didn't know. I'm like, making money, but that can't be it though. Like what else?
More like
I didn't have nothing else. It was like work, make money, spend money. That's all. I'm like, oh, I'm happy, but I'm like, it really wasn't. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't have never known that if I wouldn't have taken some time to be still. Mm-hmm. It's really important. It's really important.
And in times when
Good
you
advice.
feel like I'm scared, will it work? Would they accept me? Are they gonna talk about me? Are they gonna criticize? Son,
Yeah,
it's
that was
the worst. Every time you get scared and you second guess, say, God, I have a purpose. And you cannot be scared because your mom is a praying mom.
you get to a certain point where it's not about you anymore. It's about inspiring others.
Here's a hot take. If
If you have a message inside you that people are meant to hear, it'll never make the impact that it truly deserves until you have one thing, an audience. The best way to build an audience and a platform that amplifies your message is not a book, a podcast, a newsletter.
The goal is not only inspire, but we're trying to show the world, like, damn, like, you really went there.
We make nice pieces with nice material, but then also part of the piece shows the mistakes that can be made and that were made in making it.
We have to make a choice on the skinny we're going with. At the end of this, we're gonna keep going, we're gonna make that choice for skinny. I think right now, the skinny that we have is what I'm leaning towards. We keep mastering that, we keep doing what we gotta do. It's gonna be good.
Baggy one?
The baggy one, I'm not happy yet. The name of my clothing brand that I want to call it is Vivet. Vivet is Latin for he, she, or it will live forever. But the deeper meaning behind Vivet is to not be boxed in to what society is trying to hold box you in. That's why this journal is so important, because it's not about the designs and the cool denim and all that other stuff. It's more about the meaning. This journal is going to go out to the public. I have to show everything. I want them to feel like the hub for creators of any type, whether it's content, whether it's art, whether it's clothes, whatever it is.
Boy, mastermind, yeah.
I show people I can do this, and I need to put my ideas and stuff out, and I'm able to do it. It's going to be inspiring to a lot of people, you know?
It's true.
KC3. I predict power. What's up? You know the rest, son. You feel like a boy, you feel like a baby. Let me see. No. You're gonna fall.
Alright, chat. I fuck with it.
For the past few weeks, I have been uploading videos to my secret channel this entire time. And if you guys want to see what I've been going on, click the top of the description. It's called Kai's Mind, or follow my private page on IG, KC3 Hidden. So you guys can see everything. If you're watching right now, you are witnessing me making my channel right here, right now. You feel what I'm saying? Hold on. Oh my gosh. You feel what I'm saying? Look, boom. Kai's Mind, right there. I don't know. Right, I don't know if I can see it. Kai's Mind, right there. Hold on. Damn. Yeah, Kai's Mind, right there. Right there. I'm making it right now. I don't know what's gonna happen. I think this is gonna be a good way for me to just get stuff out. Maybe I could just follow the lore. I don't know. But the reason why I'm using a weird camera like this is I just want to show y'all that putting out content, you don't need the best thing in the world. So, bye.
Alright, dear. You gonna cancel this? I don't know what this is. that guy's a fool.
Because their AI features have been a game changer. Let me tell you that. To help me get started on my.
We're gonna pause that. Let's see what his channel talking about. Let's see what his secret channel on. What's his secret channel, chat? Okay, we found it. 19 hours ago. Should we start there? Let's see where we should start at. Everything's short. Okay, well, we found the first video. Let's go.
It's currently 4:41, December 21st. I have this book with me, Atomic Habits. I don't like the way I tend to articulate myself when I talk or try to get a point across, so I think reading is going to help me. You got 20 minutes on the clock? Let's go. A system of atomic habits. If you're having trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you. The problem is your system. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again. Not because you won't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. You do not rise to the level of your goals to go to the level of your systems. Focusing on the overall system rather than the single goal is one of the core themes of this book. It is also one of the deeper meanings behind the word atomic. By now, you probably realize that an atomic habit refers to a tiny change, a marginal gain, a 1% improvement. But atomic habits are not just any old habits. However, small. They are little habits that are part of a larger system. Just as atomics are the building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. Habits are like the atoms of our lives. Each one is a fundamental unit that contributes to your overall improvement. At first, these tiny routines seem significant, but soon they build on each other and fuel bigger wins that multiply to a degree that far outweighs the cost of their initial investment. They are both small and mighty. This is the meaning of the phrase atomic habits. A regular practice or routine that is not only small and easy to do, but also the source of incredible power, a component of system of compound growth. Okay? My bad. How your habits shape your identity and vice versa. Why it is easy to repeat bad habits and so hard to form good ones, few things can have more powerful impact on your life than improving your daily habits. And yet it is likely that this time next year you'll be doing the same thing rather than something better. It often feels difficult to keep good habits going more than a few days, even with sincere effort and the occasional burst of motivation. Habits like exercise, meditation, journaling, and cooking are reasonable for a day or two and then become a habit. However, once your habits are established, they seem to stick around forever, especially the unwanted ones. Despite our best intentions, unhealthy habits like eating junk food, watching too much television, procrastinating, and smoking can feel impossible to break. Changing your habits is challenging for two reasons. One, we try to change the wrong thing. And two, we try to change our habits in the wrong way. In this chapter, I'll address the first point. In the chapters that follow, I'll answer the second. Our first mistake is that we try to change the wrong thing. Understand what I mean. Consider that there are three levels at which change can occur. You can imagine them like the layers of onion. The first layer is changing your outcomes. This level is concerned with changing your results, losing weight, publishing a book, winning a championship. Most of the goals you set are associated with this level of change. The second layer is changing your process. The level is concerned with changing your habits and systems, implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for better workflow, developing a meditation practice. Most of the habits you build are associated with this level. The third and deepest layer is changing your identity. The level is concerned with changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases you hold are associated with this level. Outcomes are about what you get. Processes are about what you do. Identity is about what you believe. When it comes to building habits that last, when it comes to building a system of
1% improvements. The problem is not the one level is better or worse than another. All levels of change are useful in their own way. The problem is direction of change. Many people begin the process of changing their habits by focusing on what they want to achieve. This leads us to outcome-based habits. The alternative is to build identity-based habits with this approach. We start by focusing on who we wish to become. It shows like some, Can I get in trouble for reading this on YouTube? I don't know. Imagine two people reciting a cigarette. My bad, guys. Alright, I'll start. Imagine two people resisting a cigarette. When offered a smoke, the first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." It sounds like a reasonable response, but this person still believes they are a smoker who is trying to do something else. They are hoping their behavior will change while carrying around the same beliefs, okay? The second person declines by saying, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." It's a small difference, but this statement signals a shift in identity. Smoking was a part of their former life, not their current one.
For
They
sure.
no longer
I
identify
don't
as
smoke no
someone
more.
who smokes. Most people don't even consider identity change when they set out to improve. They just think, "I want to be skinny," outcome, and if I stick to this diet, then I'll be skinny. Process. They set goals and determine the actions they should take to achieve these goals without considering the beliefs that drive their actions. They never shift the way they look at themselves, and they don't realize that their own identity can sabotage their new plans for change. Behind every system of actions are a system of beliefs. The system of democracy is founded on beliefs like freedom, majority rule, and social equality. The system of dictatorship has a very different set of beliefs that absolute authority and strict obedience. You can imagine many ways to try to get people to vote in democracy. But such behavior change would never get off the ground in dictatorship. That's not the identity of the system. Voting is a behavior that is impossible under a certain set of beliefs. A similar pattern exists whether we are discussing individuals or organizations or societies. There are a set of beliefs and assumptions that shape the system and identity behind the habits. Behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last. You may want more money, but if your identity is someone who consumes rather than creates, then you'll continue to be pulled towards spending rather than earning. You may want better health, but if you continue to prioritize comfort over accomplishments, you'll be drawn to relaxing rather than training. It's hard to change your habits if you never change the underlying beliefs that led to your past behavior. You have a new goal and a new plan, but you haven't changed who you are. Okay? The story of Brian Clark, an entrepreneur from Boulder, Colorado, provides a good example. For as long as I can remember, I've chewed my fingernails, Clark told me. It started as a nervous habit when I was young, and then morphed into an undesirable grooming ritual one day. I resolved to stop chewing my nails until they grew out a bit. Throughout mindful willpower alone, I managed to do it. Then Clark did something surprising. I asked my wife to schedule my first ever manicure, he said. My thought was that if I started paying to maintain my nails, I wouldn't chew them. And it worked, but not for the monetary reason. What happened was the manicure made my fingers look really nice from the first time. The manicurist even said that other than the chewing, I had really healthy, attractive nails. Suddenly, I was proud of my fingernails. And even though that's something I had never aspired to it, made all the difference. I've never chewed my nails once since. Not, slow down, I gotta slow down. Come on. Since. Not even a single close call. And it's because I now take pride in properly caring for them. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. It's one thing to say, I'm the type of person who wants this. It's something very different to say, I'm the type of person who is this.
Claiming your destiny. Yep. That makes sense.
I want, no, you gotta start saying,
I am.
I am.
Yeah, for sure.
I will.
Change your word.
The more pride you have in a particular
Power in the
aspect of
tongue.
your identity, the more motivated you will be. Maintain the habits associated with it. If you're proud of how your hair looks, you'll develop all sorts of habits to care for and maintain it. If you're proud of the size of your biceps, you'll make sure to never skip upper body workouts. If you're proud of the scarves you knit, you'll be more likely to spend hours knitting each week. Once your pride gets involved, you'll fight tooth and nail to maintain your habits. True behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you'll stick with one is that it becomes a part of your identity. Anyone can convince themselves to visit the gym or eat healthy once or twice, but if you don't shift the belief behind the behavior, then it is hard to stick with long-term changes. Improvements are only temporary until they become a part of who you are. The goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. The goal is to not learn an instrument. The goal is to become a musician.
Yeah, musician, yeah.
The behaviors are usually a reflection of your identity. What you do is an indication of the type of person you believe that you are. Either consciously or non-consciously, research has shown that once a person believes in a particular aspect of their identity, they are more likely to act in alignment with the belief. For example, people who identified as being a voter were more likely to become than those who simply claimed voting was an action they wanted to perform. Similarly, the person who incorporates exercise into their identity doesn't have to convince themselves to train. Damn, doing the right thing is easy. After all, when your behavior and your identity are fully aligned, you are no longer pursuing behavior change. You are simply acting like the type of person that you already believe yourself to be. Like all aspects of habit formation is a double-edged sword. When working for you, identity change can be a powerful force for self-improvement. When working against you, though, identity change can be a curse. Once you have adopted an identity, it can be easy to let your elegance to impact. Is that elegance? Allegiance? I'm sorry, I don't know that word. Let me search it up. Is that elegance? How do I say that word?
Allegiance.
Allegiance. Allegiance. Where is it at? Where the hell is it at? To let your allegiance to it impact your ability to change. Many people walk through life in a cognitive slumber, blindly following the norms attached to their identity. I'm terrible with directions. I'm not a morning person. I'm bad at remembering people's names. I'm always
speaking your flaws.
Technology. I'm horrible
and you living in them.
And 1,000 other variations. When you have repeated a story to yourself for years, it is easy to slide into these mental grooves and accept them as a fact. In time, you begin to resist certain actions because that's not who I am. There is internal pressure to maintain your self-image and behave in a way that is consistent with your beliefs. You find whatever you can to avoid contradicting yourself. The more deeply a thought or action is tied to your identity, the more difficult it is to change it. It can feel comfortable to believe what your culture believes or to do what upholds yourself, withhold yourself. Image, personal identity, even if wrong, the biggest barrier to positive change at any level, individual, team, society, is identity conflict. Good habits can make rational sense, but if they conflict with your identity, you will fail to put them into action. On any given day, you may struggle with your habits because you're too busy or too tired or too overwhelmed or hundreds of other reasons over the long run. However, the real reason you fail to stick with habits is because your self-image gets in the way. This is why you can't get too attached to one version of your identity. Progress requires unlearning. Becoming the best version of yourself requires to continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. This brings us to an important question. If your beliefs and worldview play such an important role in your behavior, where do you come from in the first place? How exactly is your identity formed? And how can you emphasize new aspects of your identity that serve you and gradually erase the pieces that hinder you? The two-step process of changing your identity. Your identity emerges out of your habits. You are not born with present beliefs. Every belief, including those about yourself, is learned and conditioned through experience. More preciously, your habits are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed each day, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you write each day, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. The more you repeat behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with the behavior. In fact, the word identity was originally derived from Latin word essentiate, which means being an identity. Identity is a Latin adverb meaning again and again repeatedly. Identity, right? Which means repeatedly, your identity is literally your repeated beingness. Whatever your identity is right now, you only believe it because you have proof of it. If you go to church every Sunday for 20 years, you have evidence that you are religious. If you study biology for 1 hour every night, you have evidence that you are studious. If you go to the gym, even when it's snowing, you have evidence that you are committed to fitness. The more evidence you have for a belief, the more strongly you will believe it. For most of my early life, I didn't consider myself a writer. If you were to ask any of my high school teachers or college professors, they would tell you I was an average writer at best, certainly not a standout. When I began my writing career, I published a new article every Monday and Thursday for the first 2 years. As the evidence grew, so did my identity as a writer. I didn't start out as a writer, I became one through my habits. Of course, your habits are not only actions that influence your identity, but by virtue of their frequency, they are usually the most important ones. Each experience is life modifies your self-image, but it's unlikely you would consider yourself a soccer player because you kicked a ball once, or an artist because you scribbled a picture. As you repeat these actions, however, the evidence accumulates and your self-image begins to change. The effect of one-off experiences tends to fade away, while the effect of habits gets reinforced with time, which means your habits contribute most of the evidence that shapes your identity. In this way, the process of building habits is actually the process of becoming yourself. This is gradual evolution. We do not change by snapping our fingers and deciding to be someone entirely new. We change bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit, we are continually undergoing micro evolutions of the self. Each habit is like a suggestion. Hey, maybe this is who I am. If you finish this book, hey, maybe this is who I am. If you finish a book, then perhaps you are the type of person who likes reading. If you go to the gym, then perhaps you are the type of person who likes exercise. If you practice playing the guitar, perhaps you are the type person who likes music. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. This is one reason why meaningful change does not require radical change. Small. My timer. My timer just went off. Wait. It went off. That's been 20 minutes. I left up on page 38. I'll pick back up. Reminder, this is ultimately to make sure that I can articulate myself better and talk about situations in the demeanor for people to respect and understand. See you next time. Alright, so I'm reading Atomic Habits yet again. I'm setting a clock for 30 minutes. Every day I want to start to read more and more. I did not think 20 minutes is enough. So that's why we're doing 30 minutes. And I'm reading because I want to improve and articulate myself better. I'm not happy with the way I articulate myself now, and I want to just keep getting better. 30 minutes, here we go. Small habits can make a meaningful difference. Small habits can make a meaningful difference by providing evidence of a new identity. And if a change is meaningful, it actually is big. That's the paradox of making small improvements. Putting this all together, you can see that habits are the path to change your identity. The most practical way to change who you are is to change what you do. Each time you write, you are a writer. Each time you practice the violin, you're a musician. Each time you start a workout, you are an athlete. Each time you encourage your employees, you are a leader. Each habit not only gets results, but also teaches you something far more important: to trust yourself. You start to believe you can actually accomplish these things when the votes mount up and the evidence begins to change. The story you tell yourself begins to change as well. Of course, it works the opposite way too. Every time you choose to perform a bad habit, is a vote for the identity. The good news is that you don't need to be perfect. In any election, there are going to be votes for both sides. You don't need a unanimous vote to win an election. Damn. You just need a majority. Damn. It doesn't matter if you cast a few votes for my bad. Oh, my bad. Let me put this down. It doesn't matter. My bad. It doesn't matter if you cast few votes for a bad behavior or an unproductive habit. Your goal is simply to win the majority of the time. Damn. New identities require new evidence. New evidence. If you keep casting the same votes you've always cast, you're going to get the same results you've always had. If nothing changes, nothing is going to change. It is a simple two-step process. Decide the type of person you want to be. Two, provide it to yourself in small wins. First, decide what you want to be. This holds at any level, as an individual, as a team, as a community, as a nation. What you want to stand for. What are your principles and values? Who do you wish to become? These are big questions and many people aren't sure where to begin. But they do know what kind of results they want. To get six-pack abs, or to feel less anxious, or to double their salary, that's fine. Start there and work backward from the results you want to From the results you want to. Slow down. From the results you want to. Oh my gosh, I always do that. Backward from the results you want to. What? That's fine. Start there there and work backward from the results you want to the type of person who could get those results. Ask yourself, who is the type of person that could get the outcome I want? Who is the type of person that could lose 40 pounds? Who is the type of person that could learn a new language? Who is the type of person that could run a successful startup? For example, who is the type of person who could write this book? It's probably someone who is consistent and reliable. Now your focus shifts from writing a book, outcome based, to being the type of person who is consistent and reliable, identity based. This process can lead to beliefs like, I'm the kind of teacher who stands up for her students. I'm the kind of doctor who gives each patient the time and empathy they need. I'm the kind of manager who advocates for her employees. Once you have a handle on the type of person you want to be, you can begin taking small steps to reinforce your desired identity. I have a friend who lost over 100 pounds by asking herself, what would a healthy person do? All day long, she would use the question as a guide. Would a healthy person walk or take a cab? Would a healthy person order a burrito or a salad? Damn. She figured if she acted like a healthy person long enough, eventually she would become the person. She was right. The concept of identity-based habits is our first introduction to an other key theme in the book. Hold on, I'm reading. You heard? Oh my gosh. Healthy person. The concept of identity-based habits is our first introduction to an other key theme in this book. Feedback loops. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. It's a two-way street. The formation of all habits is a feedback loop. But it's important to let your values, principles, and identity drive the loop rather than your results. The focus should always be in becoming the type of person, not getting particularly outcome. The real reason habits matter. Identity change is the North Star of habit change. The remainder of this book will provide you with step-by-step instructions on how to build better habits in yourself, your family, your team, your company, and anywhere else you wish. But the true question is, are you becoming the type of person you want to become? The first step is not what or how, but who. You need to know who you want to be. Otherwise, your quest for change is like a boat without rudder. And that's why we are starting here. You have the power to change your beliefs about yourself. Your identity is not set in stone. You have a choice in every moment. You can choose the identity you want to reinforce today with the habits you choose today. And this brings us to a deeper purpose of this book. And the real reason habits matter. Building a better habit isn't about living your day with life hacks. It's not about flossing one tooth each night or taking a cold shower each morning or wearing the same outfit each day. It's not about achieving external measures of success like earning more money, losing weight, and reducing stress. Habits can help you achieve all of these things. But fundamentally, they are not about having something. They are about becoming someone. Ultimately, your habits matter because they help you become the type of person you wish to be. They are the channel through which you develop your deepest beliefs about yourself. Quite literally, you become your habits. There are 3 levels of change: outcome change, process change, and identity change. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. Your identity emerges out of your habits. Every action is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you to continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade, expand your identity. The real reason habits matter is not because they can get you better results, but because they can change your beliefs about yourself. Chapter 3: How to Build Better Habits in 4 Simple Steps. In 1998, a psychologist named Edward Thorndike conducted an experiment that would lay the foundation for our understanding of how habits form and the rules that guide our behavior. Thorndike was interested in studying the behavior of animals, and he started by working with cats. He would place each cat inside a device known as a puzzle box. The box was designed so that the cat could escape through a door by some simple act, which by some simple act such as pulling at a loop of cord, pressing a lever, or stepping on a platform. For example, one box contained a lever that, when pressed, would open a door on the side of the box. Once the door had been opened, the cat would dart out and run over the bowl of food. Most cats wanted to escape as soon as they are placed inside the box. They would poke their nose into corners, stick their paws through openings, and claw at loose objects. After a few minutes of exploration, the cats would happen to press the magical lever. The door would open and they would escape. Thorndike tracked the behavior. Thorndike tracked the behavior of each cat across many trials in the beginning. The animals move around the box at random, but as soon as the lever had been pressed at the door opened, the process of learning began. Gradually, each cat. What the hell? Oh my god. Is everything good? Okay. The beginning. The animals moved around the box at random, but as soon as the lever had been pressed and the door opened, the process of learning began gradually. Each cat learned to associate the action of pressing the lever with the reward of escaping the box and getting to the food. After 20 to 30 trials, the behavior became so automatic and habitual that the cat could escape within a few seconds. For example, Thorndike noted cat 12 took the following time to perform the act: 160 seconds, 30 seconds, 90 seconds, 60, 15, 28, 20, 30, 22, 11, 15, 20, 12, 10, 14, 10, 8, 8, 5, 10, 8, 6, 6, 7. During the first trials, the cat escaped in an average of 1.5 minutes. During the last three trials, it escaped in an average of 6.3 seconds. With practice, each cat made fewer errors, and their actions became quicker and more automatic. Rather than repeat the same mistakes, that cat began to cut straight to the solution. From his studies, Thorndike described the learning process by stating behaviors followed by satisfying consequences tend to be repeated, and those that produce unpleasant consequences are less likely to be how habits form in our own lives. It also provides answers to some fundamental questions like what are habits and why does the brain bother building them at all? Why your brain builds habits? A habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. The process of habit formation begins the trial and error. Whenever you encounter a new situation in life, your brain has to make a decision. How do I respond? How do I respond to this? The first time you come across a problem, you're not sure how to solve it. Like throwing a nice cat. You're just trying things out to see what works. Neurological activity in the brain is high during this period. You are casually analyzing the situation and making conscious decisions about how to act. You're taking in tons of new information and trying to make sense of it all. The brain is busy learning the most effective course of action. Occasionally, like a cat pressing on a lever, you stumble across a solution. You're feeling anxious and you discover that going for a run calms you down. You're mentally exhausted from a long day of work, and you learn that playing video games releases you. You're exploring, and then bam, an award. After you stumble upon an unexpected reward, you alter your strategy for next time. Your brain immediately begins to catalog the events that preceded the reward. Wait a minute, that felt good. What did I do right before that? This is the feedback loop behind all human behavior. Try, fail, learn. Try differently. Try differently. With practice, the useless movements fade away and the useful actions get reinforced. That's habit forming. Whenever you face a problem, repeat it, your brain begins to automate the process of solving it. Your habits are just a series of automatic solutions that solve problems and such as you face regularly. As behavioral scientist Jason Jason Reha writes, habits are simply reliable solutions to reoccurring problems in our environment. As habits are created, the level of activity in the brain decreases. You learn to lock in on the cues that predict success and tune out everything else. When a similar situation arises in the future, you know exactly what to look for.
And
There
I
is
know ain't
no
nobody in my
longer a
kitchen.
need to analyze every single situation. Your brain skips the process
I'm playing so much.
trial and error and creates a mental rule. If this, then that. These cognitive scripts can be followed automatically whenever the situation is appropriate.
Get out the kitchen.
Now, whenever you feel stressed, you get the itch to run. As soon as you walk in the door from work, you grab the video game controller. A choice that once required is now automatic. A habit has been created. Habits are mental shortcuts learned from experience. In a sense, a habit is just a memory of the steps you previously followed to solve a problem in the past. Whenever the conditions are right, you can draw on this memory and automatically apply the same solution. The the primary reason the brain remembers the past is to better predict that it's better predict what will work in the future. Habit formation is incredibly useful because the conscious mind is the bottleneck of the brain. It can only pay attention to one random at a time. As a result, your brain is always working to preserve your continuous attention for whatever task is most essential. Whenever possible, the conscious mind likes to pawn off tasks to the non-conscious mind to do automatically. This is precisely what happens when a habit is formed. Habits reduce cognitive load and free up mental capacity so you can allocate your attention to other tasks. Despite their efficiency, some people will wonder about the benefits of habits. The argument goes like this: will habits make life dull? I don't want to pigeonhole myself into a lifestyle I don't enjoy. Doesn't so much routine take away the vibrancy and
Hey.
spontaneity? How do I pronounce that?
Roll out.
Spontaneity. Oftentimes, when I don't know what a word is pronounced, I get to look at how it's pronounced and what it even means.
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity. The condition of being spontaneous. Spontaneity.
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity. Spontaneity. And spontaneity of life. Hardly such questions set up a false what does that mean? Dichotomy. A false dichotomy. What does that mean? A dichotomy. A division or contrast between two things that are or represented as being opposed or entirely different. Repeated branching into two dichotomies. They make you think that you have to choose between habits and maintaining freedom. In reality, the two complement each other. Habits do not restrict freedom; they create it. In fact, the people who don't have their habits handled are often the ones with the least amount of freedom. Without good financial habits, you will always be struggling for the next dollar. Without good health habits, you will always seem to be short on energy. Without good learning habits, you will always feel like you're behind the curve. If you're always being forced to make decisions about simple tasks When should I work out? Where do I go to write? When do I pay bills? Then you have less time for freedom. It's only by making the fundamentals of life easier that you can create the mental space needed for free thinking and creativity. Conversely, it's like everybody, like when I'm trying to read, shit start happening. Like damn, I had all day. Conversely, when you have your habits, the basis of what you are handled and done, your mind is free to focus on new challenges and master the next set of problems. Building habits is the present allows you to do more of what you want to in the future. The science of how habits work. The process of building a habit can be divided into four simple steps. Cue, craving, response, and reward. Breaking it down into these fundamental parts can help us understand what a habit is, how it works, and how to improve it. This is the demonstration that they talk about. Figure 5, all habits proceed through 4 stages in the same order. Cue, craving, response, and reward. This 4-step pattern is the backbone of every habit, and your brain runs through these steps in the same order each time. First, there is the cue. The cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It is a behavior. It is a bit information that predicts a reward. Our prehistoric ancestors were paying attention to cues that signal the location of primary rewards like food, water, and sex. Today, we spend most of our time learning cues that predict secondary towards like money and fame, power, and status. Praise and approval, love and friendship, or a sense of personal satisfaction. Of course, these pursuits also indirectly improve our odds of survival and reproduction, which is the deeper motive behind everything you do. Your mind is continuously analyzing your internal and external environment for hints of where rewards are located, because the cue is the first indication that we're close to a reward. It naturally leads to a craving. Cravings are the second step, and they are the motivational force behind every habit. Without some level of motivation or desire, without craving a change, we have no reason to act.
It's true.
We have no reason to act.
Only reason why you change is because you want.
The habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. You do not crave smoking a cigarette. You crave the feeling of relief it provides. You are not motivated by brushing your teeth, but rather by the feeling of a clean mouth. You do not want to turn on the television. You want to be entertained. Every craving is linked to a desire to change your internal state. This is an important that we will discuss in detail later. Cravings differ from person to person. In theory, any piece of information can trigger a craving, but in practice, people are not motivated by the same cues. For a gambler, the sound of slot machines can be a potent trigger that sparks an intense wave of desire. For someone who rarely gambles, the jingles and chimes of the casino are just background noise. Cues are meaningless until they are interpreted. The thoughts, feelings, and emotions of the observer are what transform a cue into craving. The third step is the response. The response is the actual habit you perform, which can take the form of a thought or an action. Whether a response occurs depends on how motivated you are and how much friction is associated with the behavior. If a particular action requires more physical or mental effort than you are willing to expend, then you won't do it. Your response also depends on your ability. It sounds simple, but a habit can occur only if you are capable of doing it. If you want to dunk a basketball but can't jump high enough to reach the hoop, well, you're out of luck. Finally, the response delivers a reward. Rewards are the end goal of every habit. The cue is about noticing the reward. The craving is about wanting the reward. The response is about obtaining the reward. We take rewards because they serve two purposes. They satisfy us and they keep us. The first purpose of rewards is to satisfy your craving. Yes, rewards provide benefits on their own. Food and water deliver the energy you need to survive. Getting a promotion brings more money and respect. Getting in shape improves your health and your dating prospects. But the more immediate benefit is that the more immediate benefit is that rewards satisfy your craving to eat or gain status or to win approval. At least for a moment, rewards deliver constant and relief from craving. Second, rewards teach us which actions are worth remembering in the future. Your brain is a reward detector. As you go about your life, your sensory nervous system is continuously monitoring which actions satisfy your desires and deliver pleasure. Feelings or feelings of pleasure and disappointment are part of the feedback mechanism that helps your brain distinguish useful actions from useless ones. Rewards close the feedback loop and complete the habit cycle. If a behavior is insufficient in any of the four stages, it will not become a habit. Eliminate the cue and your habit will never start. Reduce the craving and you won't experience enough motivation to act. Make the behavior difficult and you won't be able to do it. And if the reward fails to satisfy your desire, then you'll have no reason to do it again. The future. Without the first three steps, a behavior will not. I just noticed that 30 minutes might be long shit for a person like me that likes to move, so I'm gonna continue with 20 minutes. I think I'm gonna just adjust next time. The future without the first three steps, a behavior will not occur without all four. A behavior will not be repeated. The habit, cue, craving, response, reward. The four stages of habit are best described as a feedback loop. The form an endless cycle that is running every moment you are alive. The habit loop is continually scanning the environment, predicting what will happen next.
What are you
Try
doing?
different responses and learn from the results. In summary, the cue triggers a craving, which motivates a response, which motivates a reward, which satisfies the craving, and ultimately becomes associated with the cue together. These four steps from neurological feedback loop: cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, craving, response, reward. Loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, craving, response, reward. That ultimately allows to create automatic habits. The cycle is known as the habit loop. These four steps process is not something that happens occasionally, but rather it is endless feedback loop that is running and active during every moment you are alive. Even now, the brain is continually scanning the environment, predicting what will happen next, trying out different responses and learning from the results. The entire process is completed in a split second, and we use it again and again without realizing everything that has been packed into the previous moment. We can split these four steps into two phases: the problem phase and the solution phase. The problem phase includes the cue and the craving, and it is when you realize that something needs to change. The solution phase includes the response and the reward, and it is when you take action and achieve the change you desire. All behavior is driven by the desire to solve a problem. Sometimes the problem is that you notice something good and you want to obtain it. Sometimes the problem is that you are experiencing pain and you want to relieve it. Either way, the purpose of every
Why y'all up
habit
under me
is to
for? What's
solve the
going on?
problems you face. In the table
My
on the
boy.
following page, you can see a few examples of what this looks like in real life. Imagine walking into a dark room and flipping on a light switch. You have performed this simple habit too many times that it occurs without thinking. Fact. You proceed through all four stages in the fraction of a second. The urge to act strikes you without thinking. Cue, craving, response, reward. By the time we become adults, we really notice the habits that are running our lives. They got some examples in here. that are running our lives. Most of us never give a second thought to the fact that we tire the same toothbrush every morning. Facts. Or unplug the toaster every use, or always changing to comfortable clothes after getting home from work. After decades of mental programming, we automatically slip into these patterns of thinking and acting. The 4 laws of behavior change. In the following chapters, you will see time again and how the 4 stages of cue, craving, response, and reward influence nearly everything we do each day. But before we do that, we need to transform these 4 steps into practical frameworks that we can use to design good habits and eliminate bad ones. I refer to this framework as the 4 laws of behavior change, and it provides a simple set of rules for creating good habits and breaking bad and making bad ones. You can think of each law as lever that influences human behavior. When the levers are in the right positions, creating good habits is effortless. When they are in the wrong positions, it is nearly impossible. It would be irresponsible for me to claim that these 4 laws are an exhaustive framework for changing any human behavior, but I think they're close. As you will soon see, the 4 laws of behavior change apply to nearly every field, from sports to politics, art to medicine, comedy to management. These laws can be used no matter what challenge you are facing. There is no need for completely different strategies for each habit. Whenever you want to change a behavior, you can simply ask yourself, how can I make it obvious? How can I make it attractive? How can I make it easy? How can I make it satisfying? If you have ever wondered why don't I do what I say I'm going to do? Why don't I lose the weight or stop smoking or save for retirement or start Okay, I'm on page 55 of Atomic Habits. That has been 30 minutes of reading. The reason why I'm reading is because I would like to articulate myself much better than I already do. And I'll see y'all next time. Thank you. It is currently December 25th, 12:37 a.m. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. We're going to read another 20 minutes of this book. So I'm going to articulate myself.
Hey,
Here we go.
stop.
20 minutes of the clock. Here we go. Chapter summary. I already got that. Chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. And Thorndike, a primary care physician at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, has a crazy idea. She believes she can improve
Get off the bed.
and visitors without changing
Get off the bed. Move.
organization in the slightest way.
Move.
In fact, she didn't plan her approach at all. Thorndike and her colleagues designed a 6-month study to alter the choice architecture of the hospital cafeteria. They started by changing how drinks are arranged in the room. Originally, the refrigerators located next to the cash registers in the cafeteria were filled with only soda. The researchers added water as an option to each one. Additionally, they placed baskets or bottled water next to the food stations throughout the room. Soda was still in the primary refrigerators, but water was now available at all drink locations. Over the next 3 months, the number of soda sales at the hospital dropped by 11.4%. Meanwhile, sales of bottled water increased by 25.8%. They made similar adjustments and saw similar results. With the food in the cafeteria, nobody had said a word to anyone without anyone eating there. Before, after. People often choose products not because of what they are, but because of where they are. If I walk into a kitchen and see a plate of cookies on the counter, I'll pick up half a dozen. My bad.
Hey.
I'll pick up half a dozen and start eating, even if I hadn't been thinking about them beforehand and didn't necessarily feel hungry. If the communal
Get off of the bag,
communal
please.
table at the office is always filled with donuts and bagels, it's going to be hard not to grab one every now and then. Your habits change depending on the room you are in and the cues in front of you. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Despite our unique personalities, certain behaviors tend to arise again and again. Under certain environmental conditions, in church, people tend to talk in whispers. On a dark street, people act wary and guarded in this way. The most common form of change is not internal, but external. We are changed by the world around us. Every habit is context dependent. In 1936, psychologist Kurt Lewin wrote a simple equation that makes a powerful statement. Behavior is a function of the person in the environment, or B equals F. It didn't take long for Lewin's equation to be tested in business. In 1952, the economist Hawkins Stern described a phenomenon he called suggestion impulse buying, which is triggered when a shopper sees a product for the first time and visualizes a need for it. In other words, customers will occasionally buy products not because they want them, but because of how they are presented to them. For example, items at eye level tend to be purchased more than those near the floor. For this reason, you'll find expensive brand names featured in easy-to-reach locations on store shelves because they drive the most profit, while cheaper alternatives are tucked away in a harder-to-reach spots. The same goes for end caps, which are the units at the end of aisles. End caps are money-making machines in retailers because they are obvious locations that encounter a lot of foot traffic. For example, 45% of Coca-Cola sales come specifically from end of the aisle racks. The more obviously available a product or services, the more likely you are to try it. People drink Bud Light because it is in every bar and visit Starbucks because it is on every corner. We like to think that we are in control. If we choose water over soda, we assume it is because we wanted to do so. The truth, however, is that many of the actions we take each day are shaped not by purposeful drive and choice, but by the most obvious option. Every living being has its own methods for sensing and understanding the world. Eagles have remarkable long-distance vision. Snakes can smell by tasting the air. With their highly sensitive tongues, sharks can detect small amounts of electricity and vibrations in the water caused by nearby fish. Even bacteria has chemoreceptors, tiny sensory cells that allow them to detect toxic chemicals in their environment. In humans, perception is directed by the sensory nervous system. We perceive the world through sight, sound, smell, and touch and taste. But we also have other ways of sensing stimuli. Some are cautious, but many are non-cautious. For instance, you can notice when the temperature drops before a storm, or when the pain in your gut rises during a stomach ache, or when you fall off balance while walking on the rocky ground. Receptors in your body pick up on a wide range of internal stimuli, such as the amount of salt in your blood or the need to drink when thirsty. The most powerful of all human sensory abilities, however, is vision. The human body has about 11 million sensory receptors. Approximately 10 million of those are decided to sight. Some experts estimate that half of the brain resources are used on vision. Given that we are more dependent on vision than on any other sense, it should come as no surprise that visual cues are the greatest catalyst of our behavior. For this reason, a small change in what you see can lead to a big shift in what you do. As a result, you can imagine how important it is to live and work in environments that are filled with productive cues and devoid of unproductive ones. Thankfully, there is good news in this respect. You don't have to be the victim of your environment. You can also be the architect of it. How to design your environment for success. During the energy crisis and oil embargo of the 1970s, Dutch researchers began to pay close attention to country's energy usage. In one suburb in one suburb near Amsterdam, they found that some homeowners used 30% less energy than their neighbors. Despite the homes being of similar size and getting electricity for the same price, it turned out the houses in the neighborhood were nearly identical except for one feature. The location of the electrical meter. Some had one in the basement. Others had the electrical meter upstairs in the main hallway. As you may guess, the homes with the meters located in the main hallway and used less electricity when their energy use was obvious and easy to track. People changed their behavior. Every habit is indicated by a cue, and we are more likely to notice cues that stand out. Unfortunately, the environments where we live our work often make it or wait, hold on, my bad. The environment where we live and work often make it easy not to do certain actions because there is no obvious cue to trigger their behavior. It's easy not to practice the guitar when it's tucked away in the closet. It's easy not to read a book when the bookshelf is in the corner of the guest room. It's easy not to take your vitamins when they are out of sight in the pantry. When the cues that spark a habit are subtle or hidden, they are easy to ignore. By comparison, creating obvious visual cues can draw your attention toward a desired habit in the early 1990s. The cleaning staff at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam installed a small sticker that looked like a fly near the center of each urinal. Apparently, when men stepped up to the urinal, they aimed for what they thought was a bug. The stickers improved their aim and significantly reduced spillage around the urinals. That's smart. Further analysis determined that the stickers cut bathroom cleaning costs by 8% per year. I've experienced the power of obvious cues in my own life. I used to buy apples from the store, but them in the crisper in the bottom of the refrigerator and forget all about them. By the time I remembered, the apples would have gone bad. I never saw them, so I never ate them. Eventually, I took my own advice and redesigned my environment. I bought a large display bowl and placed it in the middle of the kitchen counter. The next time I bought apples, that was where they went. Where they went out. Where they went out. Come on, guys, relax. The next time I bought apples, that was where they
like
went out in the open where I could see them, almost like magic. I began eating a few apples each day simply because they were obvious rather than out of sight. Here are a few ways you can redesign your environment and make the cues for your preferred habits more obvious. If you want to remember to take your medication each night, put your pill bottle directly next to the faucet on the bathroom counter. If you want to practice guitar more frequently, place the guitar stand in the middle of the living room. If you want to remember to send more thank you notes, keep a stack of stationery on your desk. If you want to drink more water, fill up few water bottles each morning and place them in common locations around the house. If you want to make habit a big part of your life, make the cue a big part of your environment. The most persistent behaviors usually have multiple cues. Consider how many different ways a smoker could be prompted to pull out a cigarette. Driving in a car, seeing a friend smoke, feeling stressed at work, and so on. The same strategy can be employed for good habits. By sprinkling triggers throughout your surroundings, you increase the odds that you'll think about your habit throughout the day. Make sure the best choice is the most obvious one. Making a better decision is easy and natural when the cues for good habits are right in front of you. Environment design is powerful not only because it influences how we engage with the world, but also because we really do it. Most people live in the world where live in a world others have created for them. But you can alter the spaces where you live and work to increase your exposure to positive cues and reduce your exposure to negative ones. Environment design allows you to take control and become the architect of your life. Be the designer of your world and not merely the consumer of it. The context is the key. The cues that trigger a habit can start out very specific, but over time, your habits become associated with a single trigger, but with the entire context around the behavior. For example, many people drink more in social situations than they would ever drink alone. The trigger is rarely a single cue, but rather the whole situation, watching your friends order drinks, hearing the music at the bar, seeing the beers on tap. We mentally assign our habits to the locations in which they occur. The home, the office, the gym. Each location develops a connection to certain habits and routines. You establish a particular relationship with the objects on your desk, the items on your kitchen counter, the things in your bedroom. Our behavior is not defined by the objects in the environment, but our relationship with them. In fact, this is a useful way to think about the influence of the environment on your behavior. Stop thinking about your environment as filled with objects. Start thinking about it as filled with relationships. Think in terms of how you interact with the spaces around you. For one person, her couch is the place where she reads for an hour each night. For someone else, the couch is where he watches television and eats a bowl of ice cream after work. After work. Different people can have different memories and the different habits associated with the same place. The good news, you can train yourself to link a particular habit with particular context. In one study, scientists instructed insomniacs to get into bed only when they were tired. If they couldn't fall asleep, they were told to sit in a different room until they became sleepy. Over time, subjects began to associate the concept of their bed with the action of sleeping, and it became easier to quickly fall asleep when they climbed in bed. Their brains learned that sleeping, not browsing on their phones, not watching television, not staring at the clock, was the only action that happened in that room. The power of context also reveals an important strategy. Habits can be easier to change in a new environment. It helps to escape the subtle triggers and cues that nudge you toward your current habits. Go to a new place, a different coffee shop, a bench in the park, a corner, or your room you seldom use, and create a new routine there. It is easier to associate a new habit with a new context than to build a new habit in the face of competing cues. It can be difficult to go to bed early if you watch television in your room each night. It can be hard to study in the living room without being distracted if that's where you always play video games. But when you step outside your normal environment, you leave the behavior biases behind. You are battling old environmental cues, which allows new habits to form without interruption. Want to think more creatively, move to a bigger room, a rooftop, a patio, or a building that with expansive architecture. Take a break from the space where you do your daily work, which is also linked to your current thought patterns. Trying to eat healthier, it is likely that you shop on autopilot at your regular supermarket. Try a new grocery store. You may find it easier to avoid unhealthy food when your brain doesn't automatically know where it is located in the store. When you can't manage to get to an entirely new environment, redefine or rearrange your current one. Create a separate space for work, study, exercise, entertainment, and cooking. The mantra I find useful is one space, one use. When I started my career as an entrepreneur, I would often work from my couch or at the kitchen table. In the evenings, I found it very difficult to stop working. There was no clear division between the end of work time and the beginning of personal time. Was the kitchen table my office or the space where I ate meals was the couch?
He made it both.
Where I relaxed or where I sent emails. Everything happened in the same place. A few years later, I could finally afford to move to a home with a separate room for my office. Suddenly, work was something that happened in here, and personal life was something that happened out there. It was easier for me to turn off the professional side of my brain when there was a clear dividing line between work life and home life. Each room had one primary use. The kitchen was for cooking, the office was for working. Whenever possible, avoid mixing the context of one habit with another. When you start mixing contexts, you start mixing habits, and the easier ones will usually win out. This is one reason why the versatility of modern technology is both a strength and a weakness. You can use your phone for all sorts of tasks, which makes it a powerful device. But when you can use your phone to do nearly anything, it becomes hard to associate it with one task. You want to be productive, but you're also conditioned to browse social media, check email, and play video games whenever you open your phone. It's mismatch of cues. You may be thinking, you don't understand. I live in New York City. My apartment is the size of a smartphone. I need each room to play multiple roles. Fair enough. If your space is limited, divide your room into activity zones, a chair for reading, a desk for writing, a table for eating. You can do the same with your digital spaces. I know a writer who uses his computer only for writing, his tablet only for reading, and his phone only for social media and texting. Every habit should have a home. If you can manage to stick with this strategy, each context will become associated with a particular habit and mode of thought. Habits thrive under predictable circumstances like these. Focus comes automatically when you are sitting at your work desk. Relaxation is easier when you are in a space designed for the purpose. Sleep comes quickly when it is the only thing that happens in your bedroom. If you want behaviors that are stable and predictable, you need an environment that is stable and predictable. A stable environment where everything has a place and a purpose is an environment where habits can easily form. Wow, that was good. Chapter 7, The Secret to Self-Control. In 1971, as the Vietnam War was heading into its 16th year, Congressman Robert Steele from Connecticut and Morgan Murphy from Illinois made a discovery and stunned the American public. While visiting the troops, they had learned that over 50% of U.S. soldiers stationed were heroin addicts. Wait. 50% of U.S. soldiers stationed there were heroin addicts. Follow-up research revealed that 35% of service members in Vietnam had tried heroin, and as many as 20% were addicted. The problem was even worse than they had initially thought. The discovery led to a flurry of activity in Washington, including the creation of Special Action Office of Drug Abuse Prevention under President Nixon to promote prevention and rehabilitation and attract addicted service members when they returned home. Lee Robbins was one of the researchers in charge, in a finding that completely upended the accepted beliefs about addiction. Robbins found that when soldiers who had been heroin users returned home, only 5% of them became re-addicted within a year, and just 12% relapsed within 3 years. In other words, approximately 9 out of 10 soldiers who used heroin in Vietnam eliminated their addiction nearly overnight. This finding contradicted the prevailing view at the time, which considered heroin addiction to be permanent and irreversible condition. Instead, Robbins revealed the addictions to, and that has been 20 minutes. Something like that. Timer is up. I'll see you guys tomorrow, literally. And yeah, I'm reading so I could improve the way that I speak. See you next time. I'll be back to read for another 20 minutes. 20 minutes on the clock. It is currently December 26th, 3 a.m. I just finished Christmas with my family. Got the Grinches with me. You feel me? And yeah, 20 minutes on the timer. Here we go. I'm doing it because I want to improve the way I speak. The finding contradicted the prevailing view at the time, which considered heroin addiction to be a permanent and irreversible condition. Instead, Robbins revealed that addictions could spontaneously dissolve if there was a radical change in the environment. In Vietnam, soldiers spent all day surrounded by cues triggering heroin use. It was easy to access. They were engulfed by the constant stress of war. They built friendships with fellow soldiers who were also heroin users, and they were thousands of miles from home. Once a soldier returned to the United States, though he found himself in an environment devoid of those triggers, when the context changed, so did the habit. Compare the situation to that of a typical drug user. Someone becomes addicted at home or with friends, goes to a clinic to get clean, which is devoid of all environmental stimuli. that prompt their habits, then returns to their old neighborhood with all their privilege with all their previous cues that caused them to get addicted in the first place. It no wonder okay, hold on, okay, relax. It's no wonder that usually you see numbers that are the exact opposite of those in the Vietnam study. Typically, 90% of the heroin users become re-addicted once they return home from rehab. The Vietnam studies ran counter to many of. Kai, slow down. The Vietnam studies ran counter to many of our cultural beliefs about bad habits because it challenged the controversial association of unhealthy behavior as a moral weakness. If you're overweight, a smoker, or an addict, you've been told your entire life that it is because you lack self-control. Maybe even that you're a bad person. The idea that a little bit of discipline would solve all our problems is deeply embedded in our culture. Recent research, however, shows something different. When scientists analyze people who appear to have tremendous self-control, it turns out those individuals aren't all that different from those who are struggling instead disciplined. People are better at structuring their lives in a way that does not require heroin, willpower, and self-control. In other words, they spend less time in tempting situations. The people with the best self-control are typically the ones who need to use it the least. It's easier to practice self-restraint when you don't have to use it very often. So yes, perseverance, grit, and willpower are essential to success. But the way to improve these qualities is not by wishing you were a more disciplined person, but by creating a more disciplined environment. The counterintuitive idea makes even more sense once you understand what happens when a habit is formed in the brain. A habit that has been coded in the mind is ready to be used whenever the relevant situation arises. When Patty Alwell, a therapist from Austin, Texas, started smoking, she would often light up while riding horses with a friend. Eventually, she quit smoking and avoided it for years. She had also stopped riding. Decades later, she hopped on a horse again and found herself craving a cigarette for the first time in forever. The cues were still internalized. She just hadn't been exposed to them in a long time. Forgive me, it's 3 a.m. Once a habit has been encoded, the urge to act follows whenever the environmental cues reappear. This is one reason behavior change techniques can backfire. Shaming obese people with weight loss presentations can make them feel stressed. And as a result, many people return to their favorite coping strategy, overeating. Showing showing pictures of blackened lungs to smokers leads to higher levels of anxiety, which drives many people to reach for a cigarette. If you're not careful about cues, you can cause the very behavior you want to stop. Bad habits are autocata. Oh my gosh, autocata. What does that say? What does that mean? Google, why don't you have this work? Autocatalytic. Autocatalytic. Where is that? Oh my god, I lost where I was reading. Holy shit. The people the people with the best self-control are typically the ones who need to use it the least. It's easier to practice self-restraint when you don't have to use it very often. So yes, perseverance, grit, and willpower are essential to success, but the way to improve those qualities is not by wishing you were a more disciplined person, but by creating a disciplined environment. The continuity idea makes even more sense once you understand what happens when the habit is formed in the brain. A habit that has been encoded in the mind is ready to use whenever the relevant situation arises. When Patty Alwell, a therapist in Austin, Texas, started smoking, she would often let no, I already read this. Okay, bad habits are auto-catalytic. The process feeds itself. They foster the feelings they try to numb. You feel bad, so you eat junk food. Because you eat junk food, you feel bad. Watching television makes you feel sluggish, so you watch more television because you don't have the energy to do anything else. Worrying about your health makes you feel anxious, but causes you to smoke to ease your anxiety, which makes your health even worse, and soon you're feeling more anxious. It's a downward spiral, a runaway train of bad habits. Researchers refer to this phenomenon as cue encoded wanting. An external trigger causes a compulsive craving to repeat a bad habit. Once you notice something, you begin to want it. This process is happening all the time, often without us realizing it. Scientists have found the showing Scientists have found the showing addicts a picture of cocaine for just 33 milliseconds stimuluses the reward pathway in the brain and sparks desire. This speed is too fast for the brain to consciously register. The addicts couldn't even tell you what they had seen, but they craved the drug all the same. Here's the punchline: you can break a habit, but you're unlikely to forget it. Once the mental grooves of habit have been carved into your brain, they are nearly impossible to remove entirely, even if they go unused for quite a while, and that means that simply resisting temptations is an ineffective strategy. It is hard to maintain a Zen attitude in a life filled with interruptions. It takes too much energy. In the short run, you can choose to overpower temptation. In the long run, we become a product of the environment that we live in. To put it bluntly, I have never seen someone consistently stick to positive habits in a negative environment. A more reliable approach is to cut bad habits off at the source. One of the most practical ways to eliminate a bad habit is to reduce exposure to the cue that causes it. If you can't seem to get any work done, leave your phone in another room for a few hours. If you're continually feeling like you're not enough, stop following social media accounts that trigger jealousy and envy. If you're wasting too much time watching television, move the TV out the bedroom. If you're spending too much money on electronics, quit reading reviews of the latest tech gear. If you're playing too many video games, unplug the console and put it in the closet after each use. The practice is an inversion of the first law of behavior change. Rather than make it obvious, you can make it invisible. I'm often surprised by how effective simple changes like these can be. Remove a single cue and the entire habit often fades away. Self-control is a short-term strategy, not a long-term one. Short-form strategy, not a long-term one. You may be able to resist temptation once or twice, but it's unlikely you can muster the willpower to override your desires every time. Instead of summoning a new dose of willpower, whenever you want to do the right thing, your energy would be better spent optimizing your environment. This is the secret of self-control. Make the cues of your good habits obvious and the cues of your bad habits invisible. How to create a good habit. Like here, show you some diagrams. You know. The second law: make it attractive. How to make a habit irresistible. In the 1940s, a Dutch scientist named Nico Tinbergen performed a series of experiments that transformed our understanding of what motivates us. Tinbergen was eventually who Timberland Timbergen, who eventually won a Nobel Prize for his work, was investigated herringos, the gray and white birds often seen flying along the seashores of North America. Adult herringos have a small red dot on their beak, and Tinbergen noticed that newly hatched chicks would peck the spot whenever they wanted food. To begin one experiment, he created a collection of fake cardboard bricks, just a head without a body. When the parents had flown away, he went over to the nest and offered these dummy beaks to the chicks. The beaks were off. I don't know why I'm reading like this. The beaks were obvious fakes,
and he assumed the baby birds would reject them altogether. However, when the tiny ghosts saw the red spot on the cardboard beak, they pecked away just as if it were attached to their own mother. They had a clear preference of those red spots, as if they had been genetically programmed at birth. Soon, I'm gonna call him Timber discovered that the bigger the red spot, the faster the chicks pecked. Eventually, he created a beak with three large red dots on it. When he placed it over the nest, the baby birds went crazy with delight. They pecked at the little red patches as if it was the greatest beak they had ever seen. Timber and his colleagues discovered similar behavior in other animals. For example, the gray lag goose is a ground nesting bird. Occasionally, as the mother moves around on the nest, one of the eggs will roll out and settle on the grass nearby. Whenever this happens, the goose will waddle over to the egg and use its beak and neck to pull it back into the nest. Timber discovered that the goose will put any nearby round object, such as a billboard ball or a light bulb, back into the nest. The bigger the object, the greater the response. One goose even made a tremendous effort to roll a volleyball back and sit on top, like the baby goes automatically pecking at red dots. The gray lag goose was following an instinctive rule. When I see round object nearby, I must roll it back into the nest. The bigger the round object, the harder I should try to get it. It's like the brain of each animal is preloaded with certain rules for behavior, and when it comes across an exaggerated version of the rule, it lights up like a Christmas tree. Scientists refer to these exaggerated cues as supernormal stimuli. A supernormal stimulus is a heightened version of reality, like a beak with three red dots or an egg the size of a volleyball, and it elicits a stronger response than usual. Humans are also prone to fall for exaggerated versions of reality. Junk food, for example, drives our reward systems into a frenzy. After spending hundreds of thousands of years hunting and foraging for food in the wild, the human brain has evolved to place a high value on salt, sugar, and fat. Such foods are often calorie dense. They were quite rare when our ancient ancestors were roaming the savannah. When you don't know where your next meal is coming from, eating as much as possible is an excellent strategy for survival. Today, however, we live in a calorie rich environment. Food is abundant, but your brain continues to crave it like it is scarce. Placing a high value on salt, sugar, and fat is no longer advantageous to our health, but the craving persists because the brain's reward sensors have not changed for approximately 50,000 years. The modern food industry relies on stretching our Paleolithic instincts beyond their evolutionary response, evolutionary purpose. A primary goal of food science is to create products that are more attractive to consumers. Nearly every food is a bag, box, or jar has been enhanced in some way. If only with additional flavor, companies spend millions of dollars to discover the most satisfying level of crunch in a potato chip or the perfect amount of fizz in a soda. Entire departments are dedicated to optimizing how product feels in your mouth, a quality known as oral sensation. French fries, for example, are a potent combination, golden brown and crunchy on the outside, light and smooth on the inside. Other processed foods enhance dynamic contrast, which refers to an item with a combination of sensations, like crunchy and creamy. Imagine the gooiness of melted cheese on top of a crispy piece of crust, or the crunch of an Oreo cookie combined with its smooth center with natural unprocessed foods. You tend to experience the same sensations over and over. How does that 17 bite of kale taste? After a few minutes, your brain loses interest and you begin to feel full. But foods that are high in dynamic contrast keep the experience novel and interesting, encouraging you to eat more. Unfortunately, such strategies enable food scientists to find the bliss point for each product, the precise combination of salt and sugar and fat that excites your brain and keeps you coming back for more. The result, of course, is that you overeat because hyper palatable. That's a crazy word. Hyperpalatable foods are more attractive to the human brain. As Stephen Guyonnet, a neuroscientist, a neuroscientist, a neuroscientist who specializes in eating behavior and obesity, says we got tend too good at pushing our own buttons. The modern food industry and the overeating habits it has spawned is just one example of second law of behavior change. Make it attractive. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it will become habit farming. Look around. Society is filled with highly engineered versions of reality that are more attractive than the world our ancestors evolved in. Stores feature mannequins with exaggerated hips and breasts to sell clothes. Social media delivers more likes and praise in a few minutes than we could ever get in the office or at home. Online porn splices together stimulating scenes at a rate that would be impossible to replicate in real life. Advertisements are created with combination of ideal lighting, professional makeup, and Photoshop edits. Even the model doesn't look like the person in the final image. These are supernormal stimuli of our modern world. They exaggerate features that are naturally attractive to us and our instincts go wild as a result, driving us into excessive shopping habits, social media habits, porn habits, eating habits, and many others. If history serves as a guide, the opportunities of the future will be more attractive than those of today. The trend is towards to become more concentrated and stimuli to become more enticing. Junk food is a more concentrated form of calories than natural foods. Hard liquor is more concentrated form of alcohol than beer. Video games are a more concentrated form of play than board games. Compared to nature, these pleasure-packed experiences are hard to resist. They have the brain of our ancestors, but temptations they never had to face. If you want to increase the odds that a behavior will occur, then you need to make it attractive. Throughout our discussion of the second law, our goal is to learn how to make our habits irresistible. While it is not possible to transform every habit into supernormal stimulus, we can make any habit more enticing. To do this, we must start by understanding what a craving is and how it works. We begin examining biological signatures that all habits share the dopamine spike, the dopamine-driven feedback loop. Scientists can track the precise moment a craving occurs by measuring a neurotransmitter called dopamine. The importance of dopamine became apparent in 1954 when the neuroscientists James Olds and Peter Milner ran an experiment that revealed the neurological processes behind craving and desire. By implementing electrodes in the brains of rats, the researchers blocked the release of dopamine. To the surprise of the scientists, the rats lost all will to live. They wouldn't eat, they wouldn't have sex, they didn't crave anything. Within a few days, the animals died of thirst. In follow-up studies, our scientists also inhibited the dopamine releasing parts of the brain. You'll finish yourself. We'll finish yourself. Hold on. But the brain. But this time they squirted little droplets of sugar into the mouths of dopamine depleted rats. Their little rat faces lit up a pleasurable grins from the tasty substance. Even though dopamine was blocked, they liked the sugar just as much as before. They just didn't want it anymore. The ability to experience pleasure remained, but without dopamine, desire died, and without desire, action stopped. When other researchers reversed the process and flooded the reward system of the brain with dopamine, animals performed habit at breakneck speed. In one study, mice received a powerful hit of dopamine each time they poked their nose in the box. Within minutes, and we're leaving it up on page 106. Hi, y'all. That is me done reading for 20 minutes to try to get me to speak better, and I will see you guys next time. Hey, it is currently December 27th, 11:12 at night, and I'm going to be reading to make the way I speak better. Here we go. Setting 20 minutes on the clock. It physically warmed me up to play. More importantly, it put me in a right mental state. I began to associate my pre-game ritual with feeling competitive and focused. Even if it wasn't motivated beforehand, by the time I was done with my ritual, I was in game mode. You can adapt this strategy for nearly any purpose. Say you want to feel happier in general, find something that makes you truly happy, like petting your dog or taking a bubble bath, and then create a short routine that you perform every time before you do the thing you love. Maybe you take 3 deep breaths and smile. 3 deep breaths, smile, pet the dog, repeat. Eventually, you begin to associate this breath and smile routine with being in a good mood. It becomes a cue that means feeling happy. Once established, you can break it out anytime you need to change your emotional state. Stressed out work, take 3 deep breaths and smile. Sad about life, 3 deep breaths and smile. Once a habit has been built, the cue can prompt a craving, even if it is a little too, even if it is a little to do with, even if it has a little to do with the original situation. The key to finding things and fixing the causes of your bad habits is to reframe the associations you have without them. It's not easy, but if you can reprogram your predictions, you can transform a hard habit into an attractive one. So you some diagrams on how to create a good habit and how to break out of a bad habit. The third law, make it easy. Walk slowly but never backward. Walk slowly but never backward. On the first day of class, Jerry Gilson, a professor at the University of Florida, divided his film photography students into 2 groups. Everyone on the left side of the classroom, he explained, would be in the quality group. They would be graded solely on the amount of work they produced. On the final day of the class, he would tally the number of photos submitted by each student. 100 photos 100 photos would rate an A, 90 photos would rate a B, and 80 photos would rate a C, and so on. Meanwhile, everyone on the bright side of the room would be in the quality group. They would be graded on the excellence of their work. They would be graded on the excellence of their work. They would only need to produce the photo during the semester, but to get an A, it had to be nearly a perfect image. At the end of the term, he was surprised to find that all the best photos were produced by the quality group. During the semester, these students were busy taking photos, experimenting with composition and lighting, testing out various methods in the dark room, and learning from their mistakes. In the process of creating hundreds of photos, they honed their skills. Meanwhile, the quality group sat around speculating about perfection. In the end, they had little to show for their efforts other than unverified theories and one mediocre photo. It is easy to get bogged down trying to find the optimal plan for change, the fastest way to lose weight, the best program to build muscle, the perfect idea for a side hustle. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to taking action. As as Va, Va, as Voltaire once wrote, the best is the enemy of the good. I refer to this as the difference between being in motion and taking action. The two ideas sound similar, but they're not the same. When you're in motion, you're planning, strategizing, and learning. These are all good things, and they don't produce a result. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behavior that will deliver the outcome. If I outline 20 ideas for articles I want to write, that's motion. If I actually sit down and write an article, that's action. If I search for a better diet plan and read a few books on the topic, that's motion. If I actually eat a healthy meal, that's action. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. It doesn't matter how many times you go talk to the personal trainer, the motion will never get you in shape. Only the action of working out will get the result you're looking to achieve. If motion doesn't lead to results, why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we actually need to plan or learn more. But more often than not, we do it because motion allows us to feel like we're making progress without wanting the risk of failure. Most of us are experts to avoid at avoiding criticism. It doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly. So we tend to avoid situations where that might happen. And that's the biggest reason why you slip into motion rather than taking action. You want to delay failure. It's easy to be motion and convince yourself you're still making progress. You think I've got conversations going with four potential clients right now. This is good. We're moving in the right direction. Or I brainstorm some ideas for the book I want to write. This is coming together. Motion makes you feel like you're getting things done, but really you're just preparing to get something done. When preparation becomes a form of procrastination to get something done. Oh no, when preparation becomes a form of procrastination, you need to change something. You don't want to merely be planning, you want to be practicing. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetition, not perfection. You don't need to map out every feature of a new habit. You just need to practice it. This is the first takeaway of the third law. You just need to get your reps in. How long does it actually take to form a new habit? Habit formation is the process by which behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. The more you repeat an activity, the more the structure of your brain changes to become efficient. At that activity, neuroscientists call long-term potentiation, which refers to the strengthening of connections between neurons in the brain based on recent patterns of activity. With each repetition, cell-to-cell signaling improves and the neural connections tighten. First described by neuropsychologist Donald Hebb in 1949, the phenomenon is commonly known as Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together wire together. Repeating a habit leads to clear physical changes in the brain. In musicians, the cerebellum, critical for physical movement, like plucking a guitar string or pulling a violin bow, is larger than it is in non-musicians. Mathematicians, meanwhile, have increased gray matter in the inferior particle lobe, which plays a key role in computation and calculation. Its size is directly correlated with the amount of time spent in the field. The older and more experienced the mathematician, the greater the increase in gray matter. When scientists analyzed the brains of taxi drivers in London, they found that the hippocampus, a region of the brain involved spatial memory, was significantly larger in their subjects than in non-taxi drivers. Even more fascinating, the hippocampus decreased in size when drivers retired, like the muscles of the body responding to regular weight training. Particular regions of the brain adapt as they are used and atrophy as they are atrophy as they are abandoned. Of course, the importance of repetition in established habits was recognized long before neuroscientists began poking around. In 1860, the English philosopher George H. Lewis noted that learning to speak a new language, to play on a musical instrument, or to perform un unaccustomed movements, great difficulty is felt because the channels through which each sensation has to pass have not become established. Through which each sensation has to pass have not become established. But no sooner has frequent repetition cut a pathway, then this difficulty vanishes. The actions become so automatic that they can be performed while the mind is otherwise engaged. Both common sense and scientific evidence agree. Repetition is a form of change. Each time you repeat an action, you are activating a particular neural circuit associated with that habit. This means that simply putting in your reps is one of the most critical steps you can take to encoding a new habit. It is why the students who took tons of photos improved their skills, while those who merely theorized about perfect photos did not. One group engaged in active practice, the other is passive learning, one in action, the other in motion. All habits allow a similar trajectory from effortful practice to automatic behavior, a process known as automaticity. Automaticity is the ability to perform a behavior without thinking about each step, which occurs when the non-conscious mind takes over. It looks something like this. On the following page, you'll see what it looks like when researchers track the level of automaticity for an actual habit like walking for 10 minutes each day. The shape of these charts, which scientists call learning curves, reveals an important truth about behavior change. Habits form based on frequency, not time. One of the most common questions I hear is, how long does it take to build a new habit? But what people really should be asking is, how many times does it take to form a new habit? That is, how many repetitions are required to make habit automatic? There is nothing magical about time passing with regard to habit formation. It doesn't matter if it's been 21 days or 30 days or 300 days. What matters is the rate at which you perform the behavior. You could do something twice in 30 days or 200 times. It's the frequency that makes the difference. Your current habits have been internalized over the course of hundreds, if not thousands of repetitions. New habits require the same level of frequency you need to string together enough successful attempts until the behavior is firmly embedded in your mind and you cross the habit line. In practice, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for a habit to become automatic. What matters is that you take the actions you need to take to make progress. Whether an action is fully automatic is of less importance. To build a habit, you need to practice it. And the most effective way to make practice happen is to adhere to the third law of behavior, change. Make it easy. The chapters that follow will show you how to do exactly that. The law of least effort. In his award-winning book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, anthropologist and biologist Jared Diamond points out a simple fact: different continents have different shapes. At first glance, the statement seems rather obvious and unimportant, but it turns out to have a profound impact on human behavior. The primary axis of the Americas run from north to south, that is, the landmass of North and South America tends to be tall and thin rather than wide. In fact, the same is generally true for Africa. Meanwhile, the landmass that makes up Europe, Asia, and the Middle East is the opposite. This massive stretch of the line tends to be more east-west in shape. According to Diamond, this difference in shape played a significant role in the spread of agriculture over the centuries. This agriculture began to spread around the globe. Farmers had an easier time expanding doing east-west routes that along north-south ones. This is because locations along the same latitude generally share similar climates, amounts of sunlight and rainfall, and changes in season. These factors allow farmers in Europe and Asia to demonstrate a few crops and grow them along the entire stretch of land from France to China. By comparison, the climate varies greatly when traveling from north to south. Just imagine how different the weather is in Florida compared to Canada. You may be the most talented farmer in the world, but it won't help you grow Florida oranges in Canadian weather. Snow is a poor substitute for soil. In order to spread crops along north and south routes, farmers would need to find and domesticate new plants whenever the climate changed. As a result, agriculture spread 2 to 3 times faster across Asia and Europe than it did up and down the Americas. Over the span of centuries, this small difference had a very big impact. Increased food population, increased food production allowed more rapid population growth. With more people, these cultures were able to build stronger armies and were better equipped to develop new technologies. The changes started out small: a crop that spread slightly faster, a population that grew slightly faster but compounded slightly farther, a population that grew slightly faster but compounded into substantial differences over time. The spread of agriculture provides an example of the third law of behavior: change on a globe scale. Conventional wisdom holds that motivation is the key to habit change. Maybe if you really wanted it, you'd actually do it. But the truth is, our real motivation is to be lazy and to do what is convenient. And despite what the latest productivity bestseller will tell you, this is a smart strategy, not a dumb one. Energy is precious, and the brain is wired to conserve it whenever possible. It is it is human nature to follow the law of least effort, which states that when deciding between two similar options, people will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. For example, expanding your farm to the east where you can grow the same crops rather than heading north where the climate is different. Out of all the possible actions you can take, the one that is realized is the one that delivers the most value for the least effort. You're motivated to do what is easy. Every action requires a certain amount of energy. The more energy required, the less likely it is to occur. If your goal is to do 100 push-ups per day, that's a lot of energy. In the beginning, when you're motivated and excited, you can muster the strength to get started. But after a few days, such a massive effort feels exhausting. Meanwhile, sticking to the habit of doing one push-up per day requires almost no energy to get started, and the less energy habit requires, the more likely it is to occur. Look at any behavior that fills up much of your life. You'll see that it can be performed with very low levels of motivation. Habits like scrolling on your phones, checking email, and watching television steal so much of our time because they can be performed almost without effort. They are remarkably convenient. In a sense, every habit is just an obstacle to getting what you really want. Dieting is an obstacle to getting fit. Meditation is an obstacle to feeling calm. Journaling is an obstacle to thinking clearly. You don't actually want to have it yourself. Wait, you don't want to have it yourself. What you really want to do, what is to outcome the habit deliverers, the greater the obstacle that is, the more difficult in that habit, the more friction there is between you and your desired end state. This is why it is crucial to make your habits so easy that you'll do them even when you don't feel like it. If you can make your good habits more convenient, you'll be more likely to follow through on them. But what about all the moments that when we seem to do the opposite? If we're all so lazy, then how do we explain people accomplishing hard things like raising a child or starting a business or climbing Mount Everest? Certainly, you are capable of doing every hard thing. The problem is that some days you feel like doing the hard work, and some days you feel like giving in. On the tough days, it's crucial to have as many things working in your favor as possible so that you can overcome the challenges life naturally throws your way. The less friction you face, the easier. It is your strongest self to emerge. The idea behind it easy is not to only do easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run. How to achieve more with less effort. Imagine you are holding a garden hose that is bent in the middle. Some water can flow through, but not very much. If you want to increase the rate at which water passes through the hose, you have two options. The first option is to crank up the valve and force more water out. The second option is to simply remove the band in the hose and let water flow through naturally. Trying to pump up your motivation to stick with a hard habit is like trying to force water through a bent hose. You can do it, but it requires a lot of effort and increases your tension in your life. Meanwhile, making your habit simple and easy, like removing the bend in the hose rather than trying to overcome the friction in your life, you reduce it. One of the most effective ways to reduce the friction associated with your habits to practice environment design. In chapter 6, we discuss environment design as a method for making cues more obvious. But you can also optimize your environment to make actions easier. For example, when deciding where to practice a new habit, it is best to choose a place that is already along the path of your daily routine. Habits are easier to build when they fit into the flow of your life. You are more likely to go to the gym if it is on your way to work because stopping doesn't add much friction to your lifestyle. By comparison, if the gym is off the path of your normal commute, even by just a few blocks, now you're going out of your way to get there. Perhaps even more effective is reducing the friction within your home or office too often. We try to start habits in high friction environments We try to follow a strict diet while we are out for dinner. Friends, we try to write a book in chaotic household. We try to concentrate while using a smartphone filled with distractions. It doesn't have to be this way. We can remove the points of friction that hold us back. This is precisely what electronics manufacturers in Japan began to do in the 1970s. In an article published in the New Yorker titled Better All the Time, James Suriaki writes, right there. And that has been 20 minutes of reading. It is currently 11:32, and I'm reading to make myself sleep better. Bye.
Chat, I got one more episode in me, chat.
Okay, so now I want you to do just verify that this one's gonna go here.
This ain't gonna be it though, so let me see.
Yeah, so yeah, that one matches there. This one matches here, so then you can go ahead and stop. You see what I mean?
This one matches here?
Yeah, because you see this one goes to this stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then that one goes to that stop.
Okay, so we know.
Yeah. But how we laid it down, here, wait, let me just, how we laid it down, and
hey, it is currently December 27th, 11:12 at night, and I'm going to be using to make the way I speak better. Here we go, setting 20 minutes on the
Part 7, the last one I'm on to today, chat. I got stuff to do. I'm gonna come do some more of this funnel before I start burning it. Oh, alright, well, he just turned the learning, the reading into here goes Sal.
I am currently more than frustrated because I have been sitting here reading for the last hour of my life. It is currently December 27th, 12:46 a.m. And I've been sitting here reading and I have been messing up. My video has been getting corrupted. I'm going to show you guys. There is 2 corrupted videos here on my laptop. Dead spot, dead spot, dead spot. That is me reading for the last 3 times. I'm going to read with a smile on my face. Okay? 10 minutes. Here we go. I'm using the clock on the video. Habits are all about associations. These associations determine whether we predict a habit to be worth repeating or not. Were covered in our discussion of the first law. Your brain is continually absorbing information and noticing cues in the environment. Every time you perceive a cue, your brain runs a simulation and makes a prediction about what to do in the next moment. Cue. You notice that the stove is hot. Prediction. If I touch it, I'll get burned, so I should avoid touching it. Cue. You see that the traffic light turned green. Prediction. If I step on the gas, I'll make it safely though. Make it safely through the intersection and get closer to my destination. So I should step on the gas. You see a cue categorized is it based on past experience and determine the approximate response. This all happens an instant, but it plays a crucial role in your habits because every action is preceded by a prediction. Life feels reactive, but it's actually predictive. All day long, you are making your best guess of how to act given what you've just seen and what has worked. For you in the past, you are endlessly predicting what will happen in the next moment. Our behavior is heavily dependent on these predictions. Put in other way, our behavior is heavily dependent on how we interpret the events that happen to us. Not necessarily the objective reality of the events themselves. 2 people can look at the same cigarette and one feels the urge to smoke while the other is repulsed with the smell. The same cue can spark a good habit or a bad habit depending on your prediction. The cause of your habits is actually the prediction that precedes them. These predictions lead to feeling to feelings, which is how we typically describe our craving, a feeling, a desire, and urge. Feelings and emotions transform the cues we perceive and the predictions we make into a signal that we can apply. They help explain what we are currently sensing. For instance, whether or not you realize it, you are noticing how warm or cold you feel right now. If the temperature drops by the 1 degree, you probably won't do anything. The temperature drops by 10 degrees, however, you'll feel cold and put on another layer of clothing. Feeling cold was a signal that prompted you to act. You have been sensing the cues the entire time, but it is only when you predict that you will be better off in a different state that you take action. A craving is the sense that something is missing. It is the desire to change your internal state when the temperature falls. There is a gap between what your body is currently sensing and what it wants to be sensing. The gap between your current state and your desired state provides a reason to act. Desire is the difference between where you are now and where you want to be in the future. The tiniest action is tinged with the motivation to feel differently than you do in the moment. When you binge eat or light up or browse social media, what you really want is not a potato chip or a cigarette or a bunch of likes. What you really want is to feel different. Our feelings and emotions tell us whether to hold steady in our current state or to make a change. They help us decide the best course of action. Neurologists have discovered that when emotions and feelings are impaired, we actually lose the ability to make decisions. We have no signal of what to pursue and what to avoid. As the neuroscientist Antonio Damasio explains, it is emotion that allows you to mark things as good, bad, or indifferent. To summarize, the specific cravings you feel and habits you perform are really an attempt to address your fundamental underlying motives. Whenever a habit successfully addresses a motive, you develop a craving to do it again. In time, you learn to predict that checking social media will help you feel loved or that watching YouTube will allow you to forget your fears. Habits are attractive when we associate them with positive feelings, and we can use this insight to our advantage rather than to our detriment. How to reprogram your brain to enjoy hard habits. You can make hard habits more attractive if you can learn to associate them with the positive experience. Sometimes all you need is a slight mindset shift. For instance, we often talk about everything we have to do in a given day. You have to wake up early for work. You have to make another sales call for your business. You have to cook dinner for your family. Now, imagine changing just one word. You don't have to. You get to. You get to wake up early for work. You get to make another sales call for your business. You get to cook dinner with your family by simply changing a word.
That's what I
You
get
shift the way you view each event. You transition from seeing these behaviors as burdens and turn them into opportunities. The key point is that both conversations of reality are true. You have to do those things and you also get to do them. We can find evidence for whatever mindset we chose. I once heard a story about a man who used a wheelchair. When asked if it was difficult being confined, he responded, "I'm not confined to my wheelchair, I am liberated by it. If it wasn't for my wheelchair, I am my bad guys, it's late. Wheelchair, I would be bedbound and never able to leave my house." This shift in perspective completely transformed how he lived each day. Reframing your habits to highlight their benefits rather than their drawbacks is a fast and lightweight way to reprogram your mind and make a habit seem more attractive. Exercise. Many people associate exercise with being a challenging task that drains energy and wears you down. You can just as easily view it as a way to develop skills and build you up. Instead of telling yourself, "I need to go run in the morning," say, "It's time to build endurance and get fast." Finance. Saving money is often associated with sacrifice. However, you can associate it with freedom rather than limitations of you realize one simple truth. Living below your current means increases your future means. The money you save this month increases your purchasing power next month. Meditation. Anyone who has tried meditation for more than 3 seconds knows how frustrating it can be when the next distraction inevitably pops up into your mind. You can transform frustration into delight when you realize that each interruption gives you a chance to practice returning to your breath. Distraction is a good thing because you need distractions to practice meditation. My video cut. I think I have 2 minutes left. Pre-game jitters. Many people feel anxious before delivering a big presentation or competing in an important event. They exercise quicker breathing, a faster heart rate, heightened arousal if we interpret these feelings negatively. Then we feel threatened and tense up if we interpret these feelings positively. When we can respond with fluidity and grace, you can reframe I am nervous too, I am excited, and I'm getting an adrenaline rush to help me concentrate. These little mind shifts aren't magic, but they can help change the feelings you associate with particular habits or a situation. If you want to take a step further, you can create a motivation ritual. Simply practice associating habits with something you enjoy. Then you can use the cue whenever you need to a bit of motivation. For instance, if you always play the same song before having sex, then you begin to link the music and the act. Whenever you want to get in the mood, just press play. Ed Lattimore, a boxer and writer from the Pittsburgh, benefited from a similar strategy without knowing it. Odd realization, he wrote my focus and concentration goes up just by putting my headphones on. While writing, I don't even have to play any music without realizing it. He was conditioning himself. In the beginning, he put his headphones on, played some music he enjoyed, and did focus work. After doing it 5, 10, 20 times, putting his headphones on became a cue that he automatically associated with increased focus. Uh, the craving followed naturally. Athletes use similar strategies to get themselves in the mindset to perform. During my baseball career, I developed a specific ritual of stretching and throwing before each game. The whole sequence took about 10 minutes, and I did it to the same way every single time. Wow, that is about it. That has been 10 minutes of reading. I am reading to better myself at speaking. I have read for the last hour, and yes, the previous chapters again was about surrounding yourself with the right people to build better habits. Okay, I'm freaking tired, but I just knew I had to get this out and get it up. Bye.
All right, y'all. We ended on 7. We ended on 7. We'll leave this up so we know where the fuck we was at. But let y'all like shit, man. I'm gonna tune in. If I don't get back on here tonight, I'll be back on here tomorrow. Right now, I got some working out and shit to do. So I'll be back, baby.
I'm so confused. Thought I had it right this time. Said he did.
Man, they spanking me on my shit music. Hold on.
got so many holes.